Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a DNA test.
Amanda contacted me. I thought it was a scam.
I got a message, your dad is my dad.
A shocking discovery.
What goes through your mind when you find out, wow, I have 3 sisters I didn't know I had?
And non-stop drama.
The first time all 4 sisters are in the same room ever.
When Dad drops a bombshell.
That is an absolute higher form of insanity. Why would you do that? Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Thank you very much. Well, you know, there's something going on right now called DNA discoveries that are changing the face of modern-day families. More than 12 million people used an at-home DNA kit last year with often shocking results. Now, some reveal previously undisclosed lineages, long-lost siblings, or family secrets buried for decades. One woman found out her husband was actually her cousin. And yet another test left a man with new knowledge that he had a daughter. Well, DNA results have dropped shocking bombshells and unearthed family scandals. My next guest, Amanda, can certainly relate. Her at-home experiment uncovered 3 secret sisters and a different biological father than what she thought she had. She wrote to me desperately seeking to help navigate this new family tree. Take a look.
For the first 16 years of my life, my mother led me to believe this one man was my father. At 16, a DNA test was done. He was not my father. She then told me another man was my father. I believed that for the next 22 years. At 38, I ordered another DNA test. My DNA came back. It said there was someone by the name of ES who matched me as a half-sibling. Sent messages to about 40 different girls with that name. It was my half-sister, Elizabeth. I joined a Facebook group that helped me find lost family members, leading me to find my biological father, David. When I saw this picture, I knew this was my dad. And then I found out that I had 3 sisters. I went to my mother and asked her about David. She did tell me they were together one time. David moved to a different city almost immediately after I was born. Not having a dad was really hard because that's who is supposed to protect his daughter. I grew up in rough conditions, dirty homes and barely food sometimes. I always wanted a dad helping out, providing and keeping me safe. The interactions that I've had with my biological father, David, up to this point have been very inconsistent. He'll text me every day for a month, and then I won't hear from him for 3 weeks. I'm worried that David is going to be an unreliable person in my life, and that's why I need Dr. Phil.
Okay, you've not had a good run through your childhood, right?
No, sir.
This was painful for you. A lot of this was painful.
It was. When I found him, I was so happy, but I was so angry at the same time. I wanted my sisters in my life, and now that I'm almost 40, this is the first time that we're ever meeting. I'm so scared of meeting them. I wish I would have known them my whole life. Maybe things would have been different.
Because you've been robbed of that.
I have.
Because you were told for 13 years that one man was your father.
Yes, sir.
How did you find out he wasn't?
So we didn't have much food when I lived with my mom. And I just asked her, why aren't you getting child support from him? Well, in order to do that, a DNA test has to be done. So when the DNA test came back, he was my brother's dad, but not my dad.
Okay. So then she told you, well, okay, it's not him, it's this other person.
Right.
And you were allowed to believe that for 20 years.
I was.
What do you say to yourself about this? I don't matter enough for you to find out who my father is and tell me? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I almost feel like I was a material thing in order to have a relationship with a man. That's what I feel like.
Doesn't make you feel like a priority.
It doesn't. I've never felt like a priority. I feel like I was never wanted.
And so your hope now is that you know who your father is.
Right.
And you've discovered that you have 3 sisters. One you've met just briefly. The other 2 you've never met.
I've never
You're going to meet them
met.
today for the first time.
And I'm so excited.
Maybe.
Right. Right.
Because these could be bitches from hell. We always say blood is thicker than water.
Right.
But history is thicker than blood. Because relationships are based on shared experiences and history that you've all been through, either together or separately, whatever. And when you come together as adults, just because you have some shared chromosomes
Right.
doesn't mean you have a relationship. You have to be careful what you wish for.
You know, I've never looked at it like that. I've looked at it, maybe they won't like me, you know, maybe.
Well, that's possible. They might meet you and go, whoa.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
Yeah, because, I mean, everybody that's been adopted or abandoned or whatever, they can have these fantasies that, you know, their parents and siblings are beautiful people living in Beverly Hills and have wonderful lives and lots of money, and you're going to be swept up into this glamorous lifestyle.
Right.
Really, you don't know, or they don't know about you. So there's a lot of discovery to take place. So let's get to it. Coming up, Amanda and her newly found sisters come together for the first time ever, right here on this stage. We'll be right back.
Amanda contacted me. I thought it was a scam.
I got a message from a girl named Amanda. I found out a few weeks ago that your dad is my dad.
I am going to be meeting my sisters Amanda and Jenny for the first time.
When I found out about my dad, I also found out about my 3 sisters. So here I come, 38 years later. Surprised you have another sister. None of them knew about me. Now we have to start over. They all had a place in the family. Big sister, middle sister, little sister. All this time Marie thought that she was the biggest sister, but now I'm actually the biggest sister. I'm really excited to be in a room with my dad and all 3 of my sisters. My biggest fear is once they meet me, not wanting to have a relationship with me. It's about to like rip my heart out of my chest.
Well, Amanda was shocked to hear that she had 3 sisters after receiving the results of an at-home DNA test. Now, her sisters, Marie, Elizabeth, and Jenny, knew about their father, but they say it was far from a fairy tale.
My parents got married very young. My mother told me that it was a tumultuous relationship, a volatile marriage. Our father had a temper. I believe that I was 3 years old when David left. My little sister would have been about 2.
I don't know a whole lot about him or why they divorced or what the situation was at the time.
David never tried to contact us after he left. I do remember him giving me a cross necklace. That's really the last memory I have of his visit.
My dad left Marie and Liz's mom for my mom. My mom and David raised me. My parents' relationship wasn't that stable. I've always known about Elizabeth and Marie. I was curious about them growing up. I was 12 when my parents got divorced. My dad is not a part of my life now.
Growing up, Elizabeth and I were a bit jealous that Jenny was Daddy's little girl, got to grow up with our father.
Why did he want to keep her and be in her life and not mine and not Marie's?
About a year ago, I got a message on Facebook Messenger from a girl named Amanda. It says, "Hi, Jenny, my name is Amanda. I found out a few weeks ago that your dad is my dad. He never knew about me, and I didn't know about him. I know this is probably a shock.
And then Amanda contacted me. I thought it was a scam. I did message her back. Who is this? What do you want? But I was very excited to find out that I had a sister. Amanda has really brought this all together like a true big sister. I am going to be meeting my sisters Amanda and Jenny for the first time. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to be connected with the sisters that I haven't gotten to know.
I'm so excited to know about my siblings. Can't wait to hug them.
I'm feeling emotional about meeting them, but excited.
We have a lifetime of making up to do.
Okay, now, Amanda, you've met Jenny just briefly.
Yes, sir.
But
Just
you've
very
never
much.
met Elizabeth and Marie.
I've never met them.
Elizabeth and Marie, come on out. Good to meet you. How are you? You guys have a seat. What's your reaction to meeting your sister?
She's beautiful.
Just hugging her for the first time, it feels like I've known you all my life.
Really?
Can't wait to really get to know
I
you.
know.
I could see a resemblance for sure.
How do you feel about seeing them finally?
I'm so excited. I just want to go hug them again. Hug them a little more. Maybe just squeeze in there a little bit.
There's another player here, though, that you've met briefly, but you two have not met at all.
Right.
Correct.
And that's Jenny.
Jenny.
So this will be the first time that all four sisters are in the same room ever in their entire lives. So come on out, Jenny.
This is real.
Let's just stay in here.
So y'all have a seat. Everybody's here. Tell me what's your reaction to meeting these two.
Like the pieces fit. I always felt close to them in a way, but to see them, it makes me happy.
Yeah. So, Elizabeth, why did you think that you were being scammed when you first were reached, when Amanda first contacted you?
I did not know Amanda existed. I got the DNA kit just to see what my pie chart was made of. I wasn't looking for anybody out there. I didn't know she existed, so I thought for sure it was a scam. So I didn't contact her for a long time. Yeah.
And Marie, you always thought you were the oldest, right?
Correct.
And so you've lost that job.
Yep. You can have it.
Yeah. You all now know that you have the same biological father. How do you feel about him?
We've had to learn to live our lives not worrying about his part in it. So
Right.
it's going to be a process to teach ourselves to really dig deep and see how we feel and what he wants from us now.
What goes through your mind when you find out, wow, I have 3 sisters I didn't know I had? Because, I mean, I have 3 sisters,
Right.
and I know all about them. I've tried to think about what it would be if I discovered later in life that I had 3 sisters that I didn't know about. And it's hard to wrap your head around.
It's hard to explain because, like you said, you can't wrap your head around it because you've always had your sisters. So to know that you didn't have it, you always feel like something's missing.
Yeah, well, here are pictures of all of you as children. This is Amanda here. How old are you there?
Oh, maybe, I don't know, 3?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Okay.
that cute, though?
Yeah.
It was really cute.
And then there's Marie and Liz in the middle because
We
you
look
two
like
were together.
Oh.
And here's Jenny
You really
with
do.
a bow in her hair.
Oh.
See, y'all missed this. You didn't play together. You didn't share with each other. You didn't get to see each other grow up. And Jenny, you were the only one who grew up with their dad, but you say he was absent most of the time, right?
Yes.
This is David's history as a father. According to Marie, your question is, why wasn't I good enough reason to stay? I think my dad was horny and stupid. He had no regards for his actions. It could be that way still. even in adulthood. 3 daughters abandoned. I feel very sorry for him, but I don't know why. That's kind of an odd choice. I feel sorry for him, but I don't know why.
I am a mother, and I'm not a perfect mother, and when I make even the smallest mistake, it haunts me, and I want to learn from it and grow from it. So to be his age and look back on this, I do feel bad that he is probably tormented, or I kind of hope he's tormented.
Well, Elizabeth, you said, why didn't he want us? Our dad didn't want us if he signed us over. David left Marie and I high and dry. It was easier for him to live life freely. David called me almost 9 years ago, and I thought we'd have this reunion. A week went by, and he just stopped contact. I know Amanda will get hurt. That's your fear, right?
Yes.
So you think he's going to do the same thing he's done before, and she's going to have expectations that get violated here, and she's going to wind up getting hurt.
Right.
And Jenny, you said that your dad was more absent than anything, and isn't an active part of your life now. You don't really feel like your sister's missed a lot.
I think he wants to love, but I don't know that he knows how to love and to stay around.
So this is about managing expectations, right?
Yes.
So we don't get some kind of pie in the sky anticipation that gets dashed.
Well, and when I first met our dad, I was like that. I was really hopeful that everything was going to be this, great family unit, that we were going to roast marshmallows on Christmas over a fire. Like, those were the dreams I had. And then slowly, it started to be less and less and less.
Well, we've been talking about him. He's here. He is the biological father in this modern family drama. So David's going to sit with all 4 of his daughters for the first time ever on this stage right after the break.
About 8 months ago, I got a call from a girl, and she explained to me that she was my daughter. I was very surprised. I had no idea that Amanda existed. Every day I think about all 4 of my daughters. I've always wondered how they're doing. Are they happy?
I haven't seen David in about 30 years.
At this point, I don't call David my dad. I definitely feel like I missed out and that there's a void from not knowing my biological father.
I do feel like he did abandon us.
I think my dad is ready to make amends for mistakes he's made in the past.
I do have low expectations in reconnecting with my father.
I am worried David will disappoint us again.
My guard is up just because of past disappointments.
Well, Jenny, Amanda, Marie, and Elizabeth say they have a sisterly connection despite being raised in completely different environments. The common denominator for these young women is their dad, David. Take a look.
I have 4 daughters. Currently, none of them are in my life. About 8 months ago, I got a call from a girl, and she explained to me that she was my daughter. I was very surprised. I knew her mother and that we had had relations. I had no idea that Amanda existed. Her mother never told me, and she never told her who her father was. When I met her, I knew she was my child. When I was 17, I had met Marie and Beth's mother. We were just way too young and not ready for a relationship, much less parenthood. It was a rocky marriage. Then she had met somebody else. We got divorced. She got remarried. Marie and Elizabeth's mother pressured me to sign over custody to her and her new husband. And I did it at the time because I was trying to get into the Air Force, and not having dependents was one of the criteria for me to get in. I regret not staying in better contact with them. I love Marie and Beth very much. Several years after I met Jenny's mother, she got pregnant. For most of Jenny's life, I was involved. I was her father. We did everything together. She was Daddy's girl. After 18 years of marriage, got divorced when Jenny was about 12. We've grown apart since then. I haven't seen Jenny in almost 2 years. Every day I think about all 4 of my daughters. I've always wondered how they're doing. Are they happy? People ask me, why do you want to do, Dr. Phil? I don't so much want to do it as it would be wrong not to do it.
Well, we've got the missing piece of this DNA puzzle, the father of these 4 ladies. So come on out, David.
Good to meet you.
You've met and or been around to some degree or another all 4 of your daughters.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think when you found out about Amanda?
I could always use somebody that loves me.
Were you totally shocked? Or
Oh, yeah. I was.
You had no idea.
No, sir.
But you obviously had a relationship with her mother to some degree.
Relation. One time. I know that's all it takes, but
How long did you know her?
she was in the same high school with me.
And she never told you that she was
No, I had no idea.
with child? She never said anything?
No.
She's been jerked around a lot. At least she can be given the truth.
Yeah.
You know yourself better than anybody else. What should she expect from you?
I love all of my girls. I need to find a way to connect with all of them and let them know I'm here and I love them and think about them every day.
What I'm concerned about is how everybody affects everybody, and I think the best predictor of future behavior is relevant past behavior. And we ask you, David, what kept you from being more active in your children's lives? And you said, well, you signed over custody of Elizabeth and Marie because it was required by the Air Force to have no dependents to enlist. Really?
In my case, I could not have any dependents.
Wow.
Yeah.
It wasn't my choice to be apart from Marie and Elizabeth. Elizabeth and Marie's mom moved away and cut off contact. You said, you know, it's easier to forget and move on.
Their mother had remarried and it seemed like they had I didn't want to intrude on their life.
Jenny pushed me away. Jenny asked to call ahead if I were seeing grandbabies. Wasn't about to make an appointment. So you're actually kind of a victim in all this.
I'm not trying to come across as a victim, right or wrong. It's just...
What do y'all think about what's being said?
I just remember waiting, and I understand that we never got to hear your side of the story, but it doesn't stop little girls from wondering where their dad is.
I know, baby. I love you so much. I'm sorry. I think
What's your thought?
I'm honestly here to meet my sisters. I'm not interested in a relationship. I feel like that second chance was given and blown, and I'm honestly done.
Well, you know, I asked you when you came out what you thought about her finally 13 years one way, 20 years another, and finally getting the answer. And I found your response very interesting. You said, well, I can always use somebody else to love me. It was all about you. I'll ask it again. How do you feel about the fact that after spending all of that time, 33 years living a lie, and then finally finding out the truth, how do you feel about that for her? I'll ask it again. How do you feel about the fact that after spending all of that time, 33 years living a lie, and then finally finding out the truth, how do you feel about that for her?
I'm sorry if it came across that way. It's not the way I feel in my heart. I was only saying that when she called me, because I knew nothing about it, that I wasn't suspicious or thinking she was gold digging, bless her heart if she was, but that I was open to her.
Yeah, I get that. That's still about you. I'm asking, what do you think about her?
I'm your dad, and I love you, and I'm sorry. I want to take this chance with Dr. Phil's help and guidance to just go on from here and to build a relationship, or at least a way to each other's heart.
What are you thinking as you're hearing all of this?
I love my dad. I'm listening to the words. And I know I was grown coming in to this family. And I have 3 children of my own. And I would walk through fire for them. There's nothing they could do to make me not be there. I don't care how old they are.
Well, here's what I say to all of you. I wrote a book a few years ago called Life Code, and there's a section in it that I devoted to benefit of the doubt. Okay? And I don't know about you guys, but I was just raised in middle America in a hellfire and brimstone Baptist church, and they taught us you're supposed to look for the good in people. To me, that is an absolute higher form of insanity to give people the benefit of the doubt. Why would you do that? You said when the phone first rang, you thought, am I being scammed here? Good question.
Right.
I mean, really good question in this day and time, because about every third time your phone rings, it is a scam. What you have to do is go into a situation with your eyes open and start gathering data until you have enough information to make an informed decision. Now, I know more about the 4 of you than you know about each other.
You do. You do.
Because we've done a lot of digging.
It's a bit scary.
Yeah, it should be.
A little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what I found out when we come back. All right, before we get back to today's program, I want to tell you about what we have coming up on Wednesday. It is a serious situation centered around a troubled and very violent young man. He's only 11 years old. His name is JJ. Now, his school has had to implement an entire safety plan because he threatened to kill a student. He threatened his mother's life with a steak knife. And that's not all. He's run away for days at a time and posted photos of himself on Snapchat smoking weed and holding like a .357 Magnum. And remember, he's only 11 years old. Take a look.
My son JJ is out of control. When JJ gets angry, it's like a dog that's backed into a corner. He's thrown his bed across the room. Knife mark, knife mark. Those are also knife marks as well. There's nothing that he won't destroy.
I do want to control my anger, but I can't.
Yeah, you can see this is way out of control. Mom has no idea what to do. And by the way, you did hear a dog in there, and make no mistake, I dealt with that too. That's Wednesday. You do not want to miss it. Okay, let's get back to this family.
I'm really excited to learn what similarities my sisters and I may have. The whole nurture versus nature debate rages on. The first time I talked to Amanda via text, we were sending each other pictures of our homes. There were so many similarities that blew my mind. We both had cupcake liners that were red with white polka dots. Just a random little detail that endeared me to her.
I found that music is a wonderful outlet for all of us, and that's something our dad enjoys as well.
When Jenny and I had lunch together, we thought it was hilarious that we both ordered the same thing off the menu.
I'm excited to see if we look alike, and our kids too, see if they look alike. They're cousins, so it's exciting.
Well, Jenny, Amanda, Marie, and Elizabeth say they're all interested in maintaining a sisterly connection that goes deeper than DNA, because I've said, as adults, when you meet, it doesn't matter if you're twins, you're going to build a relationship based on the effort that you put in. You 4 women have, despite some hiccups in your family history, are kind of statistical anomalies, because the 4 of you have done an amazing job in your lives of being very healthy and functional and family-oriented. You're meeting these three, and I can tell you based on what I know, you would be blessed to have any of these three women active in your life. And I can tell you three would be blessed to have this woman in your life. You're all in healthy relationships. You're all functional, contributing members of society, and you've done well. David, you have a bit more of a spotty history, but I have to say, there's certainly been nothing there that is horrific or that would tell me that these women should be afraid of you as a criminal or a felon or someone that you should run from. That's just simply not true. But it's all about managing your expectations. The four of you can certainly be a support system for one another and can have a wonderful time teaching each other about things that you've missed in each other's lives and filling in some blanks that have probably left some real empty holes in your lives. And then what do you do with old dad here? I'm going to tell you what I think you should do right after the break. Now, I believe that I'm all about the unification of family. The biggest plus that I put in David's column is he's here. He's here today. He didn't have to be here. You got to give him credit for that. And I think that he also has indicated a willingness to work going forward to try and create an adult parent-child relationship with anybody that wants to work on that. And here's what you do, in my opinion. You take this a step at a time. And what I mean by that in a real-world sense is, have lunch with your dad. You want to get to know each other a step at a time and see if there are things that you can learn and resolve. And I say to the four of you, you have a real hunger to get to know each other, and that's great, and I say pursue that. Respect that each other have lives that have been put together without y'all in it, and so it's going to be a change if you get there, and maybe you can get together at the holidays, maybe you can pick a time because you're all kind of scattered and you come together and spend time, and I would recommend you do that in short bursts to begin with as well. David, I really hope that you recognize this as an opportunity to mend some fences and prioritize some things that are important.
I do. To have a starting place is all I ask.
I wrote another book called Relationship Rescue, and it was written for married couples, but it will tell you some things to ask about each other, and you'll close a lot of information gaps in a short period of time. And so I'm going to give you all copies of that so you can get it and learn on each other. Coming up, have you ever looked around at others and felt not normal or questioned really what normal even is? Well, we'll meet a young woman asking that exact question right after the break. My guest, Anne-Marie, is a 22-year-old woman that graduated from the University of Central Missouri studying journalism, and she also happens to have Down syndrome. Her journey of self-discovery was the subject of a powerful documentary titled Normie. Take a look.
Seeing who I am and that I have Down syndrome, and I hate every time I see it. How to spell composition?
I don't understand.
I would love nothing more than you to have what you want. You're an adult now.
That's my greatest fear with Palmer, that she will desire to be a mom. That might not be what's best for her.
Do you know that I'm fighting aloneness?
Yes.
I hate being alone. Why is that? Give Palmer time to process things.
You can hold Palmer whenever you want.
It doesn't matter what people say about you. You are amazing.
Please welcome Anne-Marie Kerrigan, as well as the filmmaker and the creator of Normie, Kurt Neal. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Anne-Marie, let me start with you. What made you want to participate in the movie?
A family friend of mine, Kurt Neal, he actually taught me to speak up, and during this film, able for me to speak up.
Right. And Kurt, what inspired you to make Normie? I mean, this is a really great project.
As Anne-Marie said, we've been friends for a long time. And this idea of Anne-Marie being honest about how she's lonely and that she fiercely wants to be loved and accepted for who she is. And that kind of birthed this idea of let's explore what it means to be normal and this illusion that we're all dealing with of trying to be something to give us value. And I think Anne-Marie demonstrates that she has a value well beyond, she's very capable, but she has a value way beyond that.
What do you hope viewers will take away from watching Normie, from watching you and your journey in this film?
I hope people will have the courage to speak up, because we have the courage to speak up. We can able to make a difference. And that's what I really, really want the viewers to come across, that I am just me who I am, but able to speak up.
So what's the response been to the film?
We've been really kind of shocked by it, that people talk about the authenticity of the film. Of course, Anne-Marie and her candor about opening up, being vulnerable when it relates to things of the heart, soul, and mind in a way that's, I think it draws people to look at their own life, which is what we're really after.
How has your life changed since the film has come out?
So I get to experience everything and exposing every aspect of my life. It is very comforting knowing knowing that the truth is all out there. And it's one of the greatest journeys in my entire life.
Right. Well, you're kind of a movie star now, so I mean, people are recognizing you, and is that fun for you?
It is definitely fun.
And you handling it okay?
Definitely.
Don't be a diva on us now.
Yeah.
You got to keep your feet on the ground.
Yes.
But I'm really proud of both of you for this, and I hope that it continues to have more and more success. People know the truth when they hear it, and when you speak with the candor and heart that you do, that resonates with people, and it challenges them and inspires them to do the same thing in their own life. So you're changing lives, and not just your own. So, okay, I'd like to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Kurt Neal and Anne-Marie Kerrigan. If you'd like to find out more about Normie, go to drphil.com, and we'll link to their site and social media. And before I go, I wanted to share a tweet received from Caitlin Vives. They wrote, Dr. Phil is actually short for Dr. Philosophy. Oh, monocle emoji. Well, you're welcome. So Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and Dr. Phil. Yeah, right. I love hearing from you on social media, so keep those comments coming. We'll see you next time. Dr. Jabor's graphics in the order that we looked at them in the office to see if we got it right. Can I have item 50?
Item 54. Well, here we go.
Okay, then next.
Take.
That shows that the lesions got not bigger. It's the same, there's two lesions in there.
And then blood flow, we're going to talk to you about these areas.
Yeah. We're going to split this up, this segment.
All right, well, let's get the doctor seated.
Yep, come on out. Thank you.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, he says brain damage causes him to hit his girlfriend.
Are you afraid to be honest in front of him?
No.
You're talking a little like you're a zombie.
But does mom?
Y'all had a conversation about some pillowcases.
Play a part.
Let's use pillowcases, item 526.
I already washed the pillowcase. Wash them again!
You seem to go from zero to screaming maniac pretty quick.
A lot happened before that.
What happened before? The house burned down? Tell me what justifies that. Like mother, like son. So you do this with him, then he turns around and does this with her. Boom, boom, boom.
I wanted to tell you another thing we discovered when talking to Rebecca. We were talking about the abuse, and she said something like, well, you know, he doesn't hit me in my face.
Like that's a good thing?
Exactly.
He just doesn't leave evidence. Go get him, dog. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Phil!
One thing I've learned in 45 years is the brain is the most remarkable organ in the human body. It can do much more than just simply analyze data. Now, humans think tens of thousands of thoughts per day and experience every emotion using the brain. It's how we determine what is good, but it can also be the root of evil, with some people using their brain to commit bad behavior and violent offenses. Which brings me on today's guest. Dominic says brain damage is responsible for him hitting his girlfriend, smashing his own head through his bedroom wall, and having screaming matches with his mother like this one.
Are you insane? You are psychotic.
I already washed the pillowcase.
Wash them again!
So, is Dominic's brain really to blame? Does he have one left after that? His girlfriend's mother, Laura, says she doesn't believe that it's his brain at all, just that he is entitled and really thinks he can do anything he wants to. Take a look.
My daughter Rebecca is dating an aggressive, manipulative, pot-smoking boyfriend. Dominic has complete control over Rebecca.
Bro, why did you have to start?
I didn't start. They're clean. They're clean.
He treats her like a prisoner. He has isolated her from all her friends. Dominic has hit Rebecca 4 times that I know of. One time, I was on my stoop, and I heard screaming. I looked down the block, and he was pushing her. Another time, Rebecca came home with a swollen eye. She said she fell off the bed. I did not believe that.
My boyfriend Dominic is my first true love. I really do believe he's good for me. Our relationship is loving, but also he is very abusive. He's called me stupid, I'm a bitch. He has gotten physical and punched me in my leg. If I don't do something the right way, he'll go off. In January, we had a huge fight. He was like, don't make me do something that you'll regret, and he pushed me up against the gate. I did feel scared. I just don't think he knows how to control his anger.
I don't recognize Rebecca anymore. Rebecca has put our life on hold. She has dropped out of college, cost me $30,000. Rebecca used to dress very well, put makeup on, and since Dominic, she wears hoodies, sweatpants. This is not the way we do things in our family. Dominic has a lesion in his frontal lobe.
His parents have said that he has a brain tumor.
He blames the anger on the lesion. Dominic uses it as an excuse. Dominic's family is very dysfunctional.
When was the last time you tried helping me or getting a job? Never.
I don't need to help you get a job. You're 19. Dominic, you're so full.
Right.
You realize you're turning brown.
All that Dominic's parents do is scream and yell at him. I have a horrible feeling that if he doesn't get help, he will hurt Rebecca. I think their relationship is toxic. It needs to end.
Okay, you're concerned about her actual life, right?
Right.
You're afraid that this could escalate to the point that even by accident, he could really hurt her or even kill her.
Right.
There are times that you really get scared, right?
He starts screaming at me in my face. I just tell him to calm down, like, you don't need to do that. And he'll just snap back and be like, I'm sorry.
Can you see it coming? Can you feel it coming when he's starting to build?
Yes, he gets very anxious. And I see it most of the time when we're at his house. He's always anxious at home because there's always fighting and screaming.
You say you love him, despite the fact that he can get really volatile, violent. Now, you told the producer that you acknowledge that he has hit you multiple times.
Yes.
4 times in particular.
Yes.
But never in the face.
He's just never hit me in my face. It was always he's pushed me up against the gate or he's hit my leg, my arm. Like he'll grab my arm and pull me or my hair.
Did you know he'd hit her 4 times?
Yes. One time I was on my stoop and she was screaming down the block and I ran down the block with my car to go get her. And then another time one of my neighbors came to my house and he was coming home from work, I guess. And he said, listen, I followed your daughter home. I wanted to make sure she was safe because she was fighting with someone on the block, on the corner, and he hit her. So I told your daughter I'd take her home, and she didn't want to come with me, so I followed her home. That's how I know where she actually lives. And then another time she came home with the swollen eye. She said she fell off the bed, which
you didn't believe.
I didn't believe that. And another time, her friend told me that she saw him push her.
And why did you say you fell off the bed?
Because that morning I didn't do anything and nothing was wrong.
But you covered for him. You said you fell off the bed when.
Yeah, because she kept assuming that he hit me, but that morning he didn't hit me.
Well, how were you bruised?
I don't know. She kept saying that there was something wrong with my eye and this and that.
Like this eye?
Yeah.
I just want to know if you are fully cognizant of what is going on.
Yes.
You do realize this is abuse?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, so who are we talking about here? Is this some kind of monster?
I admit that I have rage issues.
They're clean! They're clean!
I think it's because of all the verbal abuse I get from my parents.
Low-life bastard!
I just see red. That's a hole in my wall that I put my head through the wall.
You're describing a cycle of violence here, and you guys didn't invent it. It's very well entrenched. It's definitely a cycle of violence. And, Robin deals with domestic violence all the time. She works with women that are caught in this trap all the time. She's created a whole curriculum about this. And Robin, let's talk about this, if you will help me here. Number one, tension building. Right? This is when it starts building up and the tension starts to rise, correct?
That's right.
You start feeling the tension, it's in the air, anxiety starts to build, right?
Behavior starts to change. Yes, you can feel it. You can see the abuser change his behavior. In this case, he starts changing the way he speaks to her, starts blaming her for him being so agitated. Yes.
Right, and then number 2 in the cycle, just so we know, number 2 is the incident. Any type of abuse occurs. It might be physical, sexual, emotional, whatever.
Yes. Sometimes the abuser will have one go-to abuse to start with, and then it leads to all the others. But yes, usually they'll have one where he just hits her or starts speaking to her in a derogatory way, and again, like I said, telling her it's her fault. She's the one that has a problem.
All right, and then number 3 in the cycle is the making up. This is when they try to undo everything, right?
Right. I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. Again, you made me do it. I don't know what I was thinking. Please forgive me. That'll never happen again. That's not who I am. Okay, and then the fourth, you come around, and then this is the calm after the storm. Right.
Then everything is just normal, right?
Right.
It's like it never happened.
To show her this is really who I am. I'm not that person.
Okay,
this is really
and
who I am.
then you go back to number one, tension starts building.
Right.
Then the abuse. It's a circle. It just goes around and around and around. And when you described to me what was going on, and even when he described to me what was going on, this is exactly what you were describing, correct?
Correct.
Does each of those distinctly happen with you?
Yes.
So we didn't make this up for you to describe what was happening with you. This was put together based on research across years and years and years of the way abusers interact with their partners. You just happen to fit it like a key in a lock. So that's what's happening with you. You recognize this?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now, and here's the thing. It tends to get worse, not better, if something doesn't happen to change it. And that's what I'm concerned about. Well, Dominic is here, and I have some questions for him. I'm really curious how much he's willing to own this, how many excuses he makes for this, how much he's willing to step up and say, yeah, I do it, I shouldn't, but I do, or whether he blames. I want to know what he has to say about this. There's no question that it's happening. How much is he willing to own? We're going to find out immediately after the break. You've hit her before.
Correct.
You've yelled at her.
Yes.
Called her names.
I know when I'm going to get angry, I just don't know how to suppress it.
Laura says her daughter Rebecca is a shell of her former self after falling dangerously in love with a rageaholic named Dominic, who has hit her 4 times, punched at least 5 holes in his bedroom walls, banged his own head into the wall. Laura fears there's a danger of Dominic going rogue and getting homicidal. But Dominic says, no. There's a reason for his behavior.
I admit that I have rage issues and I have a hard time controlling my anger. I've been dating Rebecca for about 5 years now. I've been verbally abusive to her. I would call her names like bitch, why you gotta be so stupid. I have been physically abusive. One time I punched her in the leg. I think it's because of the verbal abuse I get from my parents. There's always fighting in my house.
Low-life bastards! Alcoholic! You know what that word means?
I think most of the fighting is because of my mom's alcohol. She's a heavy drinker. She drinks all morning, all day, and all night. The other day, my mom started fighting with me, and she hit me in my face.
Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. Yes. Say yes, Mom, like that to my face. Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom.
My mom is constantly telling me that I'm a worthless piece of I'm a nobody.
Mother angry.
When I get angry, my body heat increases. I have veins coming out of my forehead, and I start to shake, and I just see red. That's a hole in my wall that I put my head through the wall. After a rage episode, I like to go for a walk and roll up a blunt and get high to feel relaxed. I smoke weed every day. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with a brain injury. I believe that the brain injury I have does cause my anger issues.
Dominic, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Are you guys in love?
Yes, I love her.
Do you plan to have a long-term relationship?
I plan to.
Yeah. But the relationship is really volatile, right?
I agree with that, yes.
It's explosive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get really, really angry, do you feel it coming on?
I shake. I start to shake. My hands get very clammy. And I know when I'm going to get angry, I just don't know how to suppress it to calm myself down.
Right. You realize it's happening.
Correct.
And you don't want it to happen.
Not at all. I hate that side of me.
You've hit her before.
Correct.
You've yelled at her.
Yes.
Called her names, just derogated her, put her down. How do you feel after the fact?
I feel like, excuse my language, an ass. I feel like that's not the person who I am and know that I want to be.
Here's what I'm trying to balance out. You say you love her, and you say that you have explosive anger.
Yes.
And that you know you can't control it. Why wouldn't you tell her to get as far away from you as she possibly can and stay that way until you get this dealt with?
I actually never even thought about that.
If I knew I had a grenade in my pocket, and I knew that it wasn't if it was going to go off, it's when it's going to go off, I just didn't know when that was.
You want it away from you.
Then I would tell my wife, you need to get away from me and stay away from me because I have a grenade in my pocket and it's going to go off. So you need to get away from me because if it goes off, you're going to get hurt or killed. If you really love her, why wouldn't you do that? I don't get that.
I mean, there is times where I say to get away from me, but I do love her. I never thought of just saying that because that's not. When my mom fights with me, she doesn't tell me to get away. She just keeps going and fights with me. So I don't know how to do that.
Have you had a good effect on her?
I don't know if I can answer that.
At first, you went to college.
Yes.
And how'd you do?
I did. I didn't do so good my first semester, and then me and him broke up. We took a break the second semester.
How'd you do then?
I did better, I have to admit.
Has she changed or not?
Yes, she's changed an enormous amount. It's spinning out of control.
Well, we're going to meet a woman that Dominic calls an alcoholic, nagging, manipulative, well, he's got a long list, who happens to also be his mother. She has a few choice words for him, too. She's a major player in this whole thing, so we're going to meet her after the break.
Dominic has no respect for me whatsoever.
You got your hands in your pants in front of your mother. That's disrespectful.
Dominic has called me an alcoholic.
Because you were drinking all night.
I enjoy a glass of wine with dinner. It's like I'm Italian, of course. It's one of the most dysfunctional relationships I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I'm here with Laura, who says her daughter, Rebecca, is in a toxic relationship with 19-year-old Dominic. Are you afraid to be honest in front of him?
No.
Because you're talking a little like you're a zombie. You seem like you're kind of in a trance, like you don't want to really say anything. Are you afraid of what's going to happen if you speak up honestly here after you leave?
Yeah, I'm afraid that we're not going to be able to be together.
Laura believes there is a danger that Dominic can go rogue and get homicidal. He blames his anger on two things. One, he says he has a lesion in his brain that affects his ability to regulate his emotions. And then he says there's his mother, Marianne. Well, here's what Marianne has to say.
Dominic's anger is a big problem. Dominic is absolutely confrontational with everything.
You're laughing at me. You're laughing at me.
Dominic does whatever Dominic wants to do. Dominic's been forbidden to smoke in the house, but he does it anyway. When Dominic doesn't have weed, he gets very angry.
What the happened when you had the counselor come to the house? Excuse me. What happened when the counselor came to the house?
Dominic has no respect for me whatsoever.
You got your hands in your pants in front of your mother. That's disrespectful.
I had shorts on and I was...
I don't care what you got on. Your hands still holding your
When we ask Dominic to do anything around the house, even if it's to take out the garbage, it's like, I'll do it later, I'm tired. About 2 weeks ago, Dominic got so angry that he went downstairs and put his own head through a wall. No sane person puts their own head through a wall.
You were in bed till 4 o'clock.
Because I slept 3 hours!
Because you were drinking all night.
Dominic has called me an alcoholic. I enjoy a glass of wine with dinner. It's like I'm Italian, of course. And I'm not an alcoholic. I have threatened Dominic that I will call the police because I tried to throw him out of the house and I did not end up calling the police. I know Dr. Phil's gonna yell and say I'm an enabler, and I am, and you're right, I did it. Dominic was diagnosed with a lesion on his brain around the age of 5. I do believe Dominic uses his brain issues as an excuse for not to do something. I feel Rebecca's in some kind of trance, that she just does whatever he says and follows whatever he does. There have been several occasions where I'm speaking to Rebecca and she'll be standing here and he'll be over here, and I'll ask her a question and he starts answering from over there. And I was like, wow, you should really get a job as a ventriloquist. It's one of the most dysfunctional relationships I've ever seen in my life. I think that they could end up killing each other if they get angry enough.
Okay, so you think this is a just really dysfunctional relationship?
Yeah, they're not good for each other.
You say this is dysfunctional. How about the one between you and your son now?
We don't even really have one. We don't talk. What you just heard is basically what goes on every day.
Yeah. Why?
He does what he wants to do. Everything's about Dominic.
You seem to go from zero to screaming maniac pretty quick.
Well, yes and no.
Y'all had a conversation about some pillowcases. Marianne might not have heard this before, but I want you to hear it now. Just an excerpt.
Are you insane? You are psychotic.
I already washed the pillowcase.
Wash them again!
You're telling me I need to wash these again too?
Well, now that's a hit the floor.
This one didn't hit the floor though. It wasn't on the floor.
Get the you nasty 2 pillowcases is what this fight is over? Are you out of your mind?
There was a lot that happened before that.
What happened before? The house burned down?
No.
To be honest.
He stomped on some baby kittens? What? Tell me what justifies that.
Nothing. It had nothing to do with the pillowcases. It just I asked him to do something because he took the clothes out of the washing machine and it fell on the floor. And the laundry room was dirty because the floor wasn't washed, and I asked him to rewash them. And that's all it was. And he was like, no, they're fine. I was like, just rewash them. What's the big deal?
I was taking them out to fold them. And then you were yelling at me to rewash them.
Because they fell on the floor.
No, they didn't.
Oh, my God. Are we talking about pillowcases? Seriously? Are we actually talking about pillowcases here? Let's not talk about pillowcases.
I thought we were here about them, and this seems it's what I'm doing.
Oh, we are here about them.
Okay.
And you're part of this.
Mm-hmm. It didn't used to be like that. Don't shake your head, Dominic.
It's been like this since I was little.
No.
Yes, Mom.
Again, you're lying.
Hey, before we get back to today's program, I want to tell you about what we have coming up on Friday. Now, look, we know alcohol and drug addiction can really take control of your life and can lead to a deadly situation. Shane is on the show, clearly an alcoholic who is drinking so much that it is highly toxic. He has been to the hospital a couple of times with alcohol poisoning before we ever met him. Now, his friend Opie says that he was living on borrowed time. No joke. In fact, just last year, Shane drank himself to the point of turning black and blue in a way that I promise you have never seen before. Take a look.
I've got a problem with drinking alcohol. I've been drinking since 8 o'clock this morning.
In 2018, he had fallen. His face was almost totally black. Things have gotten so bad with Shane that I asked him, the next step is going to be your funeral.
Tonight, when I get ready for bed, I'll probably just pass out, not knowing what is coming tomorrow.
Now, Shane claims that he has no idea why he drinks, and understand he blacks out. So that means he's not there when a lot of things happen that the rest of the people in his life see. And he's been to the hospital with 0.4 plus blood alcohol level. And if you look on the chart, when it says 0.4 out to the side, death probable. At that point, you go into a coma, respiration shuts down, and you die. This is going to be very interesting. What's he going to do about it? That's on Friday. You do not want to miss that. All right, back to this family. Here's an exchange between Dominic and Rebecca that happened right after Dominic argued with his mother over the pillowcases.
Why did you have to start?
I didn't start! They're clean! They're clean!
No.
They're clean!
I'm not talking about that.
like mother, like son. So you do this with him, then he turns around and does this with her, and you wonder why you're concerned.
I'm very concerned.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we are here about them.
It didn't used to be like that. It's only been the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Don't shake your head, Dominic. It's not true.
It's very true.
It's only been the last few years.
You've been like this since I was little.
No.
Yes, Mom.
It has nothing to do with you smoking pot, getting suspended from school, taking 5 years to finish high school. It has nothing to do with you stealing from the house, the jewelry, the money.
I never
that I had to
stole
put a
jewelry.
deadbolt lock on my bedroom door because you were stealing money and jewelry from me and your father.
I was taking money because every time I asked for money, you wouldn't give me any. And I understand
Get a
that.
job. You need money, get a job.
I had plenty of jobs before that, but every time I had
Plenty
a
of
job,
jobs.
I had to give you my money.
Again, you're lying. This is he lies.
Does any of this concern you?
Yes, it does.
Big concern, little concern?
A big concern. And how his relationship with his mother, his parents, and how it affects me.
I've been doing this for 45 years. I have talked to so many victims of domestic violence that started out exactly like you guys are right now. I do want you to watch, but I do need to warn you that some of the images that you're about to see in the upcoming video are very graphic in nature.
My fiance Jeremy will beat me at least once a week. He raped me while I was pregnant.
When he started chasing me, all I knew that I needed to do was get away from him.
I'm like doused with like a big pot of oil. And he's like, that's what you get, bitch. And they gave me 48 hours to live.
Brad shot me in the stomach. He started chopping me in the back of the head with a machete.
He reached for a bottle and struck me upside the head, knocking me unconscious. Every bone in my face had been broken.
He threw gasoline at me, grabbed a candle, and I went up in flames.
We saw my dad shoot my mom in the back and stomach.
There was a moment when he said to the children, say goodbye to your mother because you're never going to see her again.
I remember my mom begging for somebody to call 911, and there was nothing I could do to help her.
And every one of them loved her from the core of their soul. But every one of them had a grenade in their pocket. And she was standing there when it went off. There's been a lot of debate over whether Dominic's bouts of anger and rage are really due to a lesion in his brain or just the environment in which he lived. I've invited one of the leading neuroradiologist experts in the entire country to give his opinion on this. I'm talking the best of the best after the break. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. Joining us is Dr. Bradley Jabbour. He is the world's leading neuroradiologist with more than 20 years in practice. Now, yesterday, he did a very sophisticated MRI on Dominic's brain at his medical imaging center in Beverly Hills. His center is directly adjacent to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center and has state-of-the-art equipment. Take a look.
I'm here to see Dr. Jabor today. I know he is a top doctor in this field.
Hi, Dominic. I'm Nicole Jabor. Welcome to Medical Imaging.
Nice to meet you.
Dr. Jabor, this is Dominic. Dominic, this is Dr. Jabor.
See you met my lovely wife. Has she been good to you? Of course. Good.
So Dr. Jabor founded Medical Imaging 30 years ago, and I'm involved as his wife, managing the team on a day-to-day basis. This is our women's imaging facility, and this is the state-of-the-art 3D hologic mammogram unit. This is our PET-CT scanner. We're a great team, and we both have separate roles, but we share the same philosophy, and that's of being a very patient-orientated, hospitable environment.
What do you think is wrong with you?
I just feel like there's like the blood flow in my head is not normal. It depends what you guys can do if you can make it better.
That's the goal today, is for us to try and answer that question for you. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. You ready to go into the spaceship?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, good. What we're doing today is a 3 Tesla MRI using all the latest technology to be able to see both normal and abnormal tissue. Based on his symptoms and what history we have, I would expect there's going to be something significant in the frontal lobe of the brain. Well done. We completed the study, and how do you feel?
So good.
Then hundreds of images that we're now going to organize the data, and then we're going to compare it with the old study, and we'll be able to put a report together. Thank you for being such a good patient.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
You did this study, and you're prepared to tell us what you found, right?
Yeah.
And he has your permission to talk about this openly,
Of course.
right?
I would love to know.
Let's walk up to the screen here, and if you would just walk us through this quickly. Tell us this first image, what we're looking at.
So what we're looking at here is a 3-dimensional, 3 Tesla MRI of the brain. And as you could see, we cut through the brain to find these 2 popcorn-like lesions in the frontal lobe.
So he does, in fact, still have these lesions that were located before, and these are pockets of blood, correct?
These are abnormal blood vessels with pools of blood in them.
All right, next.
Here we're looking from the front, also a 3D image cutting into the brain the way a neurosurgeon would sort of look at a lesion and find exactly where it is here in the middle frontal gyrus.
Now, there is some good news here in that this is located where it's not really disrupting wiring.
In a way, that's good, but it's also in the gray matter, which tends to cause the epilepsy.
And there has been a seizure, correct?
Yes.
There's been 1 epileptic seizure.
There's been several. I had 3 so far.
Okay, has there been 1 that has been major, and then you've had others? How many have you had total?
I think I had 4 together.
Okay, next.
So here we're looking at, in 2017, he had a good MRI done back in New York, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we could see there's not just 1 lesion, but 2. Mm-hmm. And the study now shows they have not got bigger. If anything, the area of abnormality is well contained, maybe even smaller, so it does not look like it's out of control.
All right, now this is the blood flow, and this is the normal brain, and this is Dominic's. And we do show some areas that don't have normal blood flow and are less active than what you would want.
Yes, what this is giving us a clue to is that his brain is not metabolically functioning as optimally as it should. Mm-hmm. So you can see in the normal brain there's quite a bit of red representing good blood flow and therefore good brain activity, and he is generally diminished, particularly in the frontal areas which do control emotion.
All right, let's have a seat.
Thanks.
The simple question is, at this point, from what you see, is this a likely explanation for his explosive behavior, or is it not a likely explanation for his explosive behavior? Hold that thought, and we'll let you answer after the break. As you look at this study, is this a very likely primary cause of this explosive behavior and inability to regulate his emotion, or is something else more likely to explain what's going on?
Well, the good news is I don't think that this lesion is causing the explosive behavior. In a way, that's bad news for Dominique because he was hoping that he could explain it by that, but I don't think it's explainable by this.
I can help you learn to control that anger, express it in a more constructive way, and behave in a mature way where that doesn't have to be a problem for you, and that is 100% doable.
Okay.
And you should not be with him until an independent, objective professional that's working with him tells you that it's safe to do so. You need some help as well, because you have sacrificed your self-esteem and your self-worth and allowed yourself to be put in a subservient position where you've accepted things that there was a day you would have never accepted these things. I think you'll start to see things a little clearer really, really quick. Don't you agree?
Yes.
You agree with what I'm recommending here?
Yes. Is that going to stop him from lying too?
I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Bradley Jabbour, Chief Radiologist and owner of the Medical Imaging Center of Southern California in Santa Monica, and now in his newest clinic in Beverly Hills, right across the street from Cedars-Sinai Hospital. If you've got the kind of issues that need the sort of imaging that really matters, I'm telling you, people fly in from all over the world. I'm serious, all over the world for this man to do the imaging when it matters. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. Don't forget to check me out on all of my social media outlets, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to check out my Fill in the Blanks podcast, where I've just started a new series called Relationship Reality Check. And here's a question that it's going to cause you to ask: how much fun are you to live with? Now, in the first one, which is out right now, we talk about your relationship with you, because that's the most important relationship you'll ever have. And if you're not getting along with you, you're not going to get along with anybody. And I believe very strongly in the principle of reciprocity. That is, you put out negative, you're going to get back negative. You put out positive, you put out good energy, you're going to get that back from the world and all the relationships. Now, that's what's out right now, and I've got a brand new one dropping tomorrow. And in that one, we start talking about how to engage this world in a way that you want them to support you. Getting these relationships to move in the direction you want the relationship to go, so it creates passion for you and the person you're in a relationship with. What I want you to do is resolve: I'm not going to live like we've been living, and I'm not quitting either. It's a new day starting now. This is a brand new series that comes out every Tuesday. It's free. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, CastBox, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Take a look. You're going to like this. I saw something on my Twitter the other day that made me smile. Azzy on Twitter says, "I'm so glad I grew up watching Dr. Phil. I was getting therapy before I even knew I needed it." Well, Azzy, I'm glad I could be of service. My invoice is in the mail. We'll see you next time. To bring you to the threshold of change than right now. More than 550,000 people experience homelessness on a typical night. Now, Chrissy says she has been homeless for 3 years, and everything she owns, and I mean everything, is in these bags. Now, her parents, Monique and Sanjay, say their 23-year-old daughter has drastically changed from a hardworking, meticulous, girly girl to a violent, entitled couch surfer who doesn't bathe, hoards her fallen hair in plastic sandwich bags, and stores fast food wrappers, used paper plates, cups, and even soiled wipes in her bags as she roams around from place to place. Take a look.
My 23-year-old daughter, Chrissy, is not a functional, normal person.
For the last 3 years, Chrissy has become someone I do not recognize.
She has unsanitary habits. She refuses to bathe herself or wash her hair. I don't even think she's taken a normal shower since 2016. Now, her idea of showering is wiping herself with baby wipes.
You can smell her from 20 feet away. I can't even hug her when I see her. It makes me want to throw up.
Other than the hygiene issues, she has an obsession with her hair. She collects it. I think she hoards her hair. She has to check everything for hair, from dirt, trash on the floor, her sanitary pads. She felt like if she put it back on her head, it would stay on her longer.
At one point, Chrissy wanted to be a model. Now she looks like a homeless person.
Chrissy started meeting strangers on social media so that she could live at their houses.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It really just depends on the friend.
I would say she stayed with about 100 people within the past 2 years.
Every day I fear that I'm going to get a terrible phone call. Either she could be kidnapped, raped, or she could be killed.
All she lives for day to day is checking her updates on her social media, and she goes through all of her items that she carries around in her bags.
This is like one of my main bags. I have all this, my clothes, shoes, accessories, makeup, hair detangler that my mom bought me.
She won't let anyone touch her belongings. I've seen what's in her bags. It looks like a big garbage dump.
We try to get her help, but she refuses because she says everything is fine.
I've thrown my hands in the air because she's in complete denial. At this point, I've given up hope for her.
Okay, so Monique, how would you describe your relationship with Chrissy?
Hostile and violent and depressing.
So what do you think's wrong with your daughter?
Well, it started, I think, about 4 years ago. She started just not taking showers, not changing clothes. And she started cursing us both, started making racist comment. And I got up, she was laying on the bed. I said, "What the hell are you saying?" She put her hands in the air about my face. So we had about half a minute little tussle. Then I let her hand go. I sit down on a chair. She goes, "Oh my God, you broke my nail? Let me show you." She opened up the kitchen drawer, takes a big knife, and stabbed me on my knee twice.
She stabbed you twice?
Yes, sir.
Now, look, you guys said some things that don't sound real bad. You say them real fast. Like, she just, like, kind of quit showering. Wait a minute. What? This is 2019. You're saying that this girl, to your knowledge, has not showered since 2016?
Yes, that's correct.
She's not washed her hair in 3 years?
That's right.
Maybe throw a little bit of water on it.
She throws water on herself and uses body wipes.
Now, where were you when all of this was going on, Mom?
I was back and forth from between Texas and Florida because she never wanted to come to Texas to be with me.
Because I've looked at some of the text exchanges that you two have had, and it shows me a lot about the dynamic of this relationship. Chrissy says, "You're a dumbass trying to change yourself for a guy. You're such a stupid bitch." Mm-hmm. This is your daughter talking to you?
Yes.
Okay. "I'm glad Dad used to beat the out of you, you dumb. I hope you get stabbed. I hope a truck runs over you and your body turns to ash. You look like a fat man." Your response is, "I'm not paying for your phone anymore, bitch." Just for you to bitch me out.
Yeah.
Now, what's wrong with that exchange?
Well, in the moment, I chose a bad choice of words, but I'm human, so I don't know.
Well, no, I have less problem with your response than I do with all of this. She apparently has license to speak to you this way.
Yes, she feels that way.
Okay. Yeah, bitch, not surprised blank you anyway, then you say, nope, no room for rent. You said you would send money. Bye. You bitch. Bitch, I need to leave. I hope you die. I need a room for rent. Then she says, you make me sick, you bastard. I wish I could spit on your face for doing what you did. Then, get me, Panera. What?
Yeah, I know, what?
I wish I could spit on your face for doing what you did. Get me, Panera. This is just part of the... I'll never respond to you again. This is the second time you said that about spit at me. I should have never given birth to you, you evil what?
Evil bitch.
So go do what you want. I don't care anymore. Response, order me, Panera.
She told me that she don't give a damn if I drop dead tomorrow.
Do you get that the context? She's telling you she wants you to die, hope your body turns to ash, wants to spit in your face, and in the same dialogue line says, order me a sandwich.
Not normal.
You've been running up and down the road back and forth between Texas and
Houston and Jacksonville.
She's gotten you to actually turn around and come back, right?
She's very convincing.
Yeah, she will, in a month or two, Monique is back, driving back to Jacksonville. And it will, same thing, you know, I mean, talk about, you know.
So you go back to Jacksonville and live with her in a car?
Yeah, between my half-sister's house, who lives in Florida, and between her house, motels, and my van, all three interchangeably.
So you have a daughter that hasn't showered in 3 years, and you're living with her in a car?
Yeah, it's horrible, especially when it's warm weather. In Florida, it is all year round.
I don't know how she did it.
Yeah, this is the car you're living in?
Yes, we've slept in that Toyota also.
We can talk about what's wrong with her. What's wrong with you that you're living in this car with that trash, with that girl that hasn't showered in 3 years?
Because every time I attempted to get the trash from out of there, she would stop me, physically.
Well, Sanjay and Monique blame each other for their daughter's problems. Sanjay says Monique has no parenting skills, and Monique says Sanjay was verbally and physically abusive. Well, we'll talk about how these two got together and all of these things they're talking about right after the break. Have you been to jail because of her?
I went to jail 3 times for something I never did.
That's not correct.
That's honest truth.
No.
And later, how often do you shower?
Once every other few days.
That's not true.
I don't really feel comfortable with him being here.
Okay, but you're not running this, are you?
80% of Chrissy's issues are because of Monique's mothering skills. Monique became Chrissy's friend instead of her mother. When Chrissy was 16, Monique and Chrissy moved in with one of Chrissy's boyfriends. I said, what the heck are you doing?
Chrissy's dad, Sanjay, is very verbally abusive towards her. He says, do everybody a favor, bitch. Go jump off the cliff. You're worse than the bum on the street. I'm done with you and your screwed up mom.
Why is a 16-year-old girl living with a boy? Where are her parents? Where are her parents? A 16-year-old girl is living with a boy?
With the boy, with his parents, they had an extra room for her, and I paid rent when I was in Texas.
It's not their daughter, it's your daughter.
Right, and then I came back.
Why are you farming your daughter out to somebody else?
Well, it was an agreement that they had with us at the time.
Why?
Because I just catered to her. I thought it would be better to be a friend to her at that point because she wouldn't listen to me otherwise.
Well, how'd that work out for you?
Terrible. She didn't listen to me when I was a strict disciplinarian either.
So you say that she trapped you into this relationship. that you were not in love with her. She knew you weren't in love with her, but she trapped you into the relationship.
Right. I wanted to have a child with someone that I love and marry. I wanted to get married first, but that's not the way it happened.
So how did she trap you?
Well, she told me that she's on the pills, and then she was pregnant, and I insisted that she get an abortion. We went to the abortion clinic. Monique changed her mind, and then we came back.
Did you trap him?
I don't see it that way. It was a mutual consent.
Did you tell him you were on birth control when you weren't?
I might have missed it. I don't know. I was very irresponsible when I was younger and I met him.
Have you been to jail because of her?
Yes, I went to jail 3 times for something I never did. So yeah, I went to jail 3 times for assault.
Were those false allegations?
No.
I have never assaulted you physically.
That's not correct.
That's honest truth.
No.
Anyway.
You were in a drug-induced rage. You didn't.
No.
You weren't even aware
The
of it.
only thing I smoked was
No.
pot, marijuana.
You were on hard drugs.
This is how entitled she is, because she's made demands even since she's been here.
Mm-hmm.
Here are her demands. Yeah, on Thursday, the 19th, she says that Mom's husband, Hollis, cannot do this show, cannot be part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Saturday, the 21st, says Dad, Sanjay, can't do the show. She's dictating this to us. Then on Sunday, the 22nd, says Mom, Monique, can't do a field shoot interview alone. She has to be there to monitor it. Monique can't be on the stage with her when she comes out here. Then on Monday, yesterday, she says, must have a form-fitting dress and a wig for the taping.
I tried so many agencies to see if we can get her some help. She won't even get out of the car. And basically, they told me if she's not a threat to herself, there's nothing we can do.
Is she a smart girl or not?
Well, she's smart and manipulating people.
She's very smart.
But she never graduated high school.
No, she chose not to.
Okay, so she lives with a boy at 16. That's okay with you. She quit school. How is that okay?
It wasn't okay, but I didn't want to get into physical altercations with her.
Why does she shave her hair?
Because she feels the need to have some sort of control, and that's the only control she can have when her current recent ex rejects her.
Why does she not shower?
I think it has to do with when she was traumatized when she was in jail, and she got out of there, she didn't feel the same. She wasn't the same person anymore.
After she stabbed me, she went to jail, and the showering thing started happening after she came out. I guess she was embarrassed there to get naked, and after that, she never took a shower, never combed her hair.
Yeah, they were taunting her in the jail and bullying her. It traumatized her.
When we come back, Chrissy is backstage. My staff says it appears she still has not showered. She said she did clean her hands with wipes. It has not been an easy experience dealing with this particular guest, but we're going to meet her after the break.
Dr. Phil.
I haven't really felt homeless, of course, because I've always had like a place to stay. I was bouncing from friend to friend, so this is like all my stuff. These 2 bags, this is like all the clothes I own. If I lost any of this stuff, that would suck.
A couple of years ago, Chrissy went to jail for stabbing her father.
Chrissy and I one day had an argument over her GED enrollment.
She kept saying, get your GED or you're going to be like all the rest of the bums on the street.
She was laying on the bed and she raised her hand over me in the air. I grabbed her hand, we tussled for 15, 20 seconds. Next thing I know, she goes, oh my God, you broke my nail. And to my astonishment, she opened up the kitchen counter, grabs a knife, and she came, bam, bam, twice stabbed me on my knee.
Well, Monique says her once beautiful daughter, Chrissy, now looks homeless, is refusing to bathe, wash her hair, or change her clothes. Chrissy says she's just absolutely fine. and doesn't understand why her mom would make up lies about her.
Right now I'm currently couch surfing in between friends. They don't mind me sleeping on their couch. I haven't really felt homeless, of course, because I've always had like a place to stay. I don't have a car, so my friends usually pick me up. I've lived with about 15 friends for the last couple months. I like this lifestyle, but I do want stability. I meet the people that I stay with on social media. Meeting these people for the first time can be awkward. Some of them want to either sleep with me or they want money, so that's why I have to leave. I was bouncing from friend to friend, so this is like all my stuff. These 2 bags, this is like all the clothes I own. There's like another duffel bag in here that my mom sent me, some baby powder, eyeglass cleaner. I have a extension cord, a toothbrush. I have the GED book that I'm currently studying for. If I lost any of this stuff, that would suck. I usually just get my stuff out of the way and just sleep on a blanket on the floor every day. I get up at around 8:30. I usually brush my teeth, put on my makeup, fix my hair, get my outfit for the day. I'll call my mom. I try to get her to send me money. I just, hang out, chill, be on my phone. I'm usually a homebody, but I definitely like to get out. I like to go to the park, window shop, just have fun. I don't feel like I can keep living the way I'm living because I want to be a family unit with my mom and eventually be independent. My mom wanted me to be this person forever. I want her to know I like my hair this way, I like my clothes this way. I'm 23, so I feel like my mom should see things my way and kind of accept how I am. So it's kind of like, Mom, back off a little bit.
Hi, have a seat right here. And we have a microphone for you there. You can just clip it on. Okay. Chrissy, it's good to meet you.
Thank you. Good to meet you, too.
You have chosen to be homeless.
Not really, but I've been staying with friends.
The friends you meet at the Facebook, total strangers are friends, you're right.
I don't really feel comfortable with him being here.
Okay, but you're not running this, I am. So,
right, yeah, I understand.
So I have a question here. Why are you not taking care of your personal hygiene?
I am. That's his opinion. I mean, what
When was the last time you had a bath or a shower?
Like about yesterday, pretty much. So, yeah.
And where was this?
At the hotel we were staying at.
And were you there when this took place?
We had separate rooms. Her idea of a shower is not a shower.
What's your idea of a shower?
Getting in the water and what most people would consider a shower, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So,
and how often do you shower?
About once every other few days, but I mean...
That's not true.
I'm not really comfortable with him being here, so...
No, you are the star of the show,
you got something behind you there, so you need to either leave that or take it with you, one of the two. Okay, that's fine.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. In my opinion, she's either lying to herself or she's actually delusional.
Oh, both.
Sanjay says coming to his daughter's rescue got him in some hot water with Homeland Security, actually. So we're going to ask him about that, and then I'm going to start talking to you two about what I think's actually going on here. We'll be right back. Okay, before we get back to today's show, I want to tell you about an interesting, well, sort of love story that's coming up on Monday. Now, Holly says she's in love and, in fact, is sort of engaged to two different men, but there's a real twist here because she's never met either one of them. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, catfish, catfish, catfish. Not true. These are foreign fiancés. And the question is, are they using Holly to get to America? Because she has met both of them on the internet. She's talked to them. She's seen them. So they're not made-up people that stole somebody's identity. They're real people. But her mother is really worried. Take a look.
Holly is quick to fall in love with any man that will pay her attention.
Keoma would talk a lot about how he wishes he could marry me.
But how do you love someone that's overseas like that you've never met? It's like delusional.
I sent Gunesh love letters, DVDs.
I think these online men are just using her for a green card.
Yeah, so on Monday, you're going to see her story, and we decided that both fiancés should meet. So Holly has a lot of secrets that she's going to reveal to these two men because she's kind of told them a lot of half-truths, and so, well, I'm going to tell them the other half. So you don't want to miss that Monday. Let's get back to today's topic.
Chrissy is very codependent on me. We're best friends. That's how she sees it, and she controls every move I make.
Basically, my dream is to live just me and her. I want to focus on the relationship with my mom without a guy being involved. My mom always says I do come first in her life.
When I hear her say, "I can't be without you, Mom," I just feel it's for her self-serving needs, not out of love. She needs me with her, even though we don't get along, and I want to stay away from her.
Well, Sanjay says his troubled daughter Chrissy's issues, such as not bathing since 2016 and saving her hair that sheds in plastic bags, comes from his ex Monique's side of the family. You two are really busy pointing fingers at one another, and you say you got in trouble with Homeland Security?
About 8 months ago, they were in Florida, so I quit my job. I moved to Florida, too, because I knew Monique's gonna need help. It's not one person can handle her. As soon as she saw me at her aunt's house, she was upset. 2 days later, Homeland Security guys came and, "Can I see your ID?" "Yes, you may." "What is this? Tell me why you are here." And then it occurred to me that she had. I said, "Okay, I know why you're here. My daughter called you."
Immigration?
Yeah, Homeland Security.
So are you an American citizen?
No, I'm a permanent resident.
Permanent, and you've got the papers to prove it?
Oh, yeah.
So they backed off of you?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Have you gotten adapted to it, or do you still smell your daughter when she comes up next to you?
No, I still smell her. Not as bad today, but other days are worse.
Yeah, today maybe because she's supposed to be here, so she's looking half decent, I guess. Otherwise, she doesn't look like that. She doesn't smell like that. If it was a real case, I would walk away.
This was a good day?
Yeah, this is a very good day. Otherwise, smell alone, you won't be able to sit close to her.
And she wears the same clothes for months.
For months.
And she doesn't want to wash them.
If she took a shower yesterday, she did it really fast. Seriously, the problem here is why people that are homeless are homeless. And this is a person that is choosing to be homeless. She's not homeless because she does not have options.
Exactly.
There are people that are homeless that don't have options. And I can tell you, because I have worked with them, there are people on Skid Row here in LA with better hygiene than she has demonstrated.
Yes.
There are people that have less resources, less at their fingertips, but they get to the mission every day. They take showers every day. They have pride in themselves. They may be homeless. They may have fallen on hard times, but they conduct themselves with dignity and self-respect, and they are looking for a way back into the game of life. And that's not what she's doing here.
Yep.
And the question has to be why, and that's what we need to talk about. Now, Monique says her husband Hollis thinks Chrissy is entitled, selfish, and disrespectful. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
Chrissy has filth everywhere. She will not throw anything away. I literally held open trash bags while her mother went through her belongings, and Monique went through 10 containers of trash. It was disgusting. Right now, Chrissy is not welcome in the home.
My mom's boyfriend, Hollis, doesn't really like me. We just don't see eye to eye.
Hollis sees her as selfish, entitled, abusive to her mother. He thinks I should just be done with her.
He's just kind of rude.
Hollis thinks that Chrissy is a complete lost cause. I feel like I'm always in the middle and then they're playing tug of war.
Eventually, I would probably like Hollis out of the picture. I'd like a perfect father figure, but he's just not it.
Well, Chrissy says she does not see eye to eye with Monique's husband, Hollis. Hollis says Chrissy is hateful and is not welcome at his house.
Monique is a young woman, and her daughter has caused her to age 20 years. It's affected her health. Chrissy is just making the marriage horrible, and she does not want anything good for her mother. I am totally done with her. Chrissy will say, I hate you. I wish you were dead. They have been driving in a car, and Chrissy tried to grab the steering wheel and turn the ignition off while Monique was driving down the interstate. I don't know if Chrissy has a death wish, but she has no sense of reality. Chrissy has filth everywhere. She will not throw anything away. I literally held open trash bags while her mother went through her belongings, and Monique went through 10 containers of trash. It was disgusting. And her mother was in tears the whole time. Right now, Chrissy is not welcome in the home. My message for Chrissy is she needs to turn around all this bad behavior. Chrissy, if you stay on the track that you're on now, you're just going to go further and further down, and there's going to be no hope for you.
Well, I've added someone to the conversation here. This is Dr. Charles Sophie. Dr. Sophie is on our advisory board here, and he is board certified in 3 clinical specialties: adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and family practice. Now, he's also the medical director for the Department of Child and Family Services here in Los Angeles. So, Dr. Sophie, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It seems to me that this is highly dysfunctional parenting that has gotten us to this point, and it has resulted in a highly anxiety-driven young woman here. What do you see?
Absolutely. I mean, there is no parenting going on. That's the problem. That girl is probably the most mature of everybody. She's smart. She's trying to get out.
But I also think she's functioning with a mental age of about 12 or 13.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Because at this point, she's very hedonistic.
Yes.
She has immediate gratification. She wants what she wants when she wants it, and she wants it right now. Mm-hmm. And that's why she can go from telling you to go jump in the lake and then order her a sandwich in the same breath. Mm-hmm. She has no sense of emotional or social responsibility whatsoever. And you have raised her in such an entitled fashion, and the two of you have made her a tug-of-war in a rope between the two of you. It's astounding to me that you two don't see what's gone on here. You have crippled this young woman, and now you're reaping the benefits of this. Then she goes to jail, and you said, well, maybe she was embarrassed in jail. We don't know the bottom of this, but I'll guarantee you she was traumatized in jail, and she's resolved, I ain't taking a shower again. I'm not taking my clothes off again. You can kiss my ass. I ain't doing it. She says she's willing to come back out. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. We'll take a break and see.
Pretty goes back.
Just put your mic back on. Chrissy, I'm glad you're back. Why did you decide to rejoin us?
Just to explain my part, because I feel like, you know, they kind of don't know the full extent of everything they're saying. You know, sometimes I've been in friends' houses, and their showers just, you know, kind of gross me out, because sometimes it has mildew on it, and just, it looks just very, like, it just grosses me out. So, I mean, that's sometimes why I won't take a shower. But, I mean, other than that, you know, I do try to.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put your life in terms of how you think it's working? Forget about them. Well, I don't care what they think about this. What do you think about how your life is working right now?
Of course it's not great. I mean, I completely agree. But, I mean, I'm just...
Give me a number.
Maybe like a 3. I mean, that it's not working out.
And given the path you're on right now, where do you think you'll be a year from now?
Probably independent, like stable, independent on my own, having a job, having my diploma.
I'm curious how you think you're going to go from jumping from one person's house to another and being certainly not job applicant ready to all of a sudden being independent, making money, living on your own, and moving on in your life. How are you planning to get from where you are to there? What's going to happen that's going to create this transformation?
Right. Well, from what I understood when I last talked to her, I thought that I was going to move in with her eventually. So if that were to happen, we would have to leave her boyfriend's house, and we would have to probably live in our car for a little bit and try to get somewhere to stay. So when we get somewhere to stay, that's when I would try to look for a job.
Okay, well, if she listens to me, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's just enabling you. And what I'm telling you is, what if you coming here today could be the first step towards you really getting what you're talking about? Because you said being independent, standing on your own. Then when I asked you how, you said, well, I'm going to get my mother to leave her boyfriend, move into a car with me, and the two of us. That doesn't sound to me like a path to independence. That sounds to me like a giant step back. I think I might have a better plan.
Right. I agree. I'm definitely open. I'd love some advice. I mean, I'm definitely open to advice. For sure.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to give you some.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Here's the thing. I think that you are experiencing a lot of anxiety that's expressing itself in a lot of different ways. There is a place here in California, in Pasadena, California, that's called Las Encinas. And it is a private hospital. And this is a place that provides medically supervised, patient-centered treatment approach.
The reason I don't feel like that's too necessary is because I thought that she's the one, if anything, has told me to just sometimes either just go on the street, or she has told me to live with friends.
She's not a professional, she's a mother, because what I'm doing is offering a healthy, therapeutic, supportive environment to give her a restart in her life. Okay. And I'm going to ask that you at least go over there, meet them, and take a look around. Will you do that?
I don't know right now, probably.
Okay,
probably
well,
not,
that offer expires today.
Okay.
I'm making you a world-class offer because I think your life is dysfunctional. I think you're paralyzed by anxiety. I think you're not doing the things that someone your age would be doing if you are functional. And if you turn your nose up at it and walk on, that's your choice, not mine. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Charles Sophie, along with Las Encinas, for offering their services to this young lady, whether she grabs onto it or whether she doesn't. Now, last night I was checking out my Instagram, and I saw what some viewers said about this picture with my wife, Robin, having some fun dancing. Believe me, Robin was taking the lead because I have 2 left feet.
Oh, that was really tough.
The first comment from Bridget, I'm not sure, but you guys look amazing. Carla Wesson said, you two are so cute together and your mutual admiration oozes. Photo Girl PB said, Dr. Phil, how can I meet someone that loves me like Robin loves you? The bee's knees, dancing queen, because both of you are dancing queens. Well, okay. I don't know where you're going to find one like Robin, because there's only one, and I already found her.
Oh, that's so
We'll see you next time. I hope she listens. I hope she listens to what I'm telling you. Will she take the help or not? I don't know, but peace out. We're done.
You're so sweet, but I have to say, no, it's really peace out, I'm done. As in the name of one of my brand new products, this amazing cleansing toner removes makeup, dirt, and oils. Peace out, I'm done also has our multi-patented dynamic infusion technology to quickly hydrate skin with antioxidants and vitamins.
So Robin comes up with all of these cool names for her products. She sits home and makes these up.
I do. Speaking of cool, one of the fan favorites in my collection is, OMG, is this really me? This potent gel has natural clay-derived compounds that also immediately make your face, neck, and eye area look tightened and lifted. Our patented dynamic infusion technology gives you these fresh-faced results incredibly fast. Just pat some on, and you'll look in the mirror and say, OMG, is this really me?
Now, to get yours, just head over to RobinMcGrawRevelation.com, and that is the only place you can get it.
An all-new Dr. Phil.
I've been drinking since, I don't know, 8 o'clock this morning.
Black and blue.
He had fallen. His face was black.
He had a brain bleed. He did everything but die.
I think I've had 5 or 6 injuries since I've been drinking. I got a concussion.
And blackout drunk.
Police found you in the floor, said you were closer to death without being dead than anybody he's ever seen. You said you didn't understand why your wife and children didn't want to be around you. After watching these videos,
I don't understand why.
You can't navigate across 10 feet without running into stuff, but you get in a car and drive drunk. That is arrogant, psychopathic bull. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Thank you. Okay, take a look at these photos. What do you think could have possibly caused this type of injury? Well, last November, 48-year-old Shane was so intoxicated he hit the back of his head and ended up in the ER, but that wasn't Shane's only visit to the hospital. Just 2 weeks ago, when he wasn't answering his door, police were called, and this is how they found him.
Shane, you right, police department? Hey, buddy.
Hey, Shane, can you sit up? Hey, you want to go to the hospital?
No, sir.
I think it's a good idea. Shane, you remember me? Remember I had to come into your apartment and get you last time?
Yeah.
Sadly, that was not enough to stop Shane from drinking. Just last week, our team reached out to him and found him intoxicated at 3:30 in the afternoon. Now, he said he had been drinking since 10 that morning.
Can you show me what you were drinking?
Hell.
Shane, are you okay?
No. First, total out.
Do you want me to call for help?
No.
Shane continued to drink over the next 30 hours. Here's what happened when our crew arrived at his apartment.
I'm going to take a little swig of this. I've been drinking since, I don't know, 8 o'clock this morning. I fell last night. All right, there it is.
Well, Shane's friend Opie wrote to me saying he's living on borrowed time and fears it won't be long before she gets the call saying her friend is dead.
When I first met Shane, he was clean cut, professional, sharp as a tack, someone that you wanted to be around. But now, he's more drunk than he is sober.
I want to drink all the time, and it sucks. It's terrible.
Shane is sloppy. No one wants to be around him. He is buying vodka by the half gallon. Within a few days, the bottle's empty.
Every 30 minutes, I need another swig, just to kind of keep me on top of the buzz game.
Just last month, he had fallen while he was drinking. They put him in ICU for 10 days due to a brain bleed. In 2018, he had fallen. His face was almost totally black. Since Shane's black and blue incident, he's in a constant state of pity. I've heard him so many times say, "This is it, I'm not gonna drink anymore." And the next thing I know, he's back at it. The Dr. Phil crew showed up to his house and he was plastered.
You're looking a little wobbly. You've been drinking all day?
Yeah.
The children have been around him while he was severely drunk. The kids are afraid to be around him when he's drinking. Things have gotten so bad with Shane that I asked him, okay, the next step is going to be your funeral. We talked about that while you were laying in a hospital bed.
Oh, Lord, I sure don't remember that.
I said, you're gonna die. So who do you want as your pallbearers? Where do you want to be buried? What do you want me to tell your children? Because this is it. It's gotten that serious.
Okay, how long have you known Shane?
About 20 years.
20 years. Okay, how long has he been in this condition?
As far as I know, about 2.5 years.
What do you think caused him to fall off the cliff?
Drinking, I think, has caused his marriage to fail.
But why did he start doing that? If he was healthy and interesting and vibrant about life, and then all of a sudden he is a falling down, staggering drunk. What caused that to happen? What caused that transition? In your opinion, I'm not asking you to play doctor here. I'm just asking you know.
I feel that he had a high-performance job, maybe entertaining clients, living the great life, you know, the great marriage, the great family, the nice house, the nice boat. And I feel that alcohol was part of that lifestyle, and it got a hold of him.
It just caught up with him.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And did he notice that at the time?
Oh, no.
So he just thought this is just party time.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he own this, or does he blame others for it?
No, he owns it. He owns it. He has no idea why, but he's owning it now.
Now, he has 2 children.
Yes.
And they're 10 and 13?
Yes.
And he has the right to see them, but only supervised.
Right.
Okay. Now, he hasn't seen them since February?
I believe so.
So that's 8 months.
Mhm.
So he has the right to see them.
Right.
But he hasn't exercised that right.
Right.
Would you have ever thought that of him?
No, never.
Now, you say this month he went to the ICU for 10 days and the emergency room for 2 days. What's his reaction to that? He's in there for 10 days, tubes, things running in and out of his body, trying to keep him alive. At that time, does he at least have a come to Jesus then? Does he say, okay, I'm done, that's it?
For a day or two. For
Okay.
a day or two.
It lasts a day or two.
3 days from the ICU incident. Yes, sir.
And he looks at himself in the mirror and sees that horrific mask of blood, which is just essentially lividity. I mean, that's just, he severed an artery, fell face down. That's how blood pools in dependent tissues. That's what happens to a corpse.
Yes, I know.
And so but he just didn't die. He did everything but die.
I know that.
Did it scare him? When he looked in the mirror, did that scare him?
I think so. He called me and said, I've got a problem. And I told him, I said, you've got to go to the hospital.
When this happened?
Yes, when that happened.
So he wasn't going to the hospital?
No.
As it turned out, he had a brain bleed.
Mhm.
And you say when you went out of town for a few days and you got back, you thought he was dead.
Yes, yes,
Because non-responsive.
Non-responsive.
And so you got a wellness check.
yes.
That's when they found him.
Well, that was another incident.
Right, but he said, you remember me?
Mhm.
Cop says, you remember me? That's from the time before.
Yes.
And this time they found him, he's passed out in the floor, and he's laying in a big pool of his own urine.
Yes, sir.
Because he's been there a while.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the guns he has.
He's got quite a few rifles, a couple of pistols, and,
He's got 10 guns.
oh yeah,
He keeps them in a safe. That's what he hit his head on when he fell backwards, right?
I assume, yes.
Iron gun safe.
Yes.
How do you feel about him having those guns?
I've got him. I don't want him to.
You got him away from him.
Oh, yes, with the advisement of the police department. Yes.
Yeah. Because one thing we know is when you get that drunk and you hear him being pitiful and saying, oh my God, and you feel that sorry for yourself, it's just it's not a big leap.
You're right.
To say, and I don't deserve to live, I'm just going to end this all right now.
You're right.
It can seem like a really good idea at the time.
At the time.
And you recognize that. So
Yes,
did he
sir.
resist giving you the guns?
He didn't even know about it until a few days later.
So you got him without him knowing it,
Oh, yeah,
but you do have him.
I have him.
Yeah. All right, next, Shane says he drinks to feel good and have a good time. Does that look like somebody that's having a good time? He says when he wakes up, he feels like hell. So how's he feeling today? Well, I'm going to ask him because you're going to meet him right after the break.
I knew I was going to be coming out of Dr. Phil's, so I didn't want to drink tomorrow. What I'm sad about is my ex-wife leaving me.
It's non-stop drama.
Drinking in the morning on the way here.
Yeah, I got a problem. Fair enough.
You ought to have the world on a string. And instead, you got a smart mouth and a lazy ass.
All month long.
My mom is addicted to painkillers.
She throws herself down the stairs so she can get pain pills.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't understand the daily pain. You're not there.
I can't have you here if you're going to buy her bull.
Because when things get ugly,
I've been living a double life.
the truth.
Nicole discovered her husband has been in a long-term secret affair. That affair is with a man.
Isn't always pretty.
The private investigator found out who the man was. You can learn a lot about him on the sex offender registry.
Families in crisis.
Ray was holding her terminally ill mother hostage in the back of our production vehicle.
Mama, please, no, please, somebody stop it.
You have embarrassed yourself, and the fact that you are willing to do this to your mother is selfish and ridiculous, and shame on you.
I'm not in denial. She is such a sweet, sweet little girl.
No, she's not. She's an absolute brat.
Explosive revelations.
Are you a 33-year-old scam artist?
Christine Barnett tells us the girl she adopted was no child at all, but a fraud who tried to kill her family.
It comes down to whether or not you are an evil dwarf that's come over here to murder everybody.
The truth comes out.
Fertility doctor who fathered nearly 70 children is warning his secret offspring to keep quiet.
Way out.
He betrayed my mom and my dad's trust.
Violated 70 women. Consequence, 0.
Dr. Phil, November.
You got 10 seconds to sit down and talk to me, and if you don't, you're not going to believe what happens next.
How much have you been drinking?
A fifth vodka.
Can you show me what you were drinking?
Hell.
Shane, are you okay?
Don't laugh.
Do you want me to call for help?
No.
Were you taking a shot?
Yes. I'm a party animal.
Have you been drinking water?
No, we're drinking vodka.
Do you ever go days like where you don't drink at all?
No, Lord, no. I haven't had a drink until yesterday. Yeah, all week.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, feeling good.
How much have you been drinking?
Not much. Just...
Not much. Friday, we were in touch with Shane, who was very intoxicated. Our team got to his apartment at 9 p.m. that night. He was not in good shape.
I've got a problem with drinking alcohol. Yep, there you go. I'm going to take a little swig of this. Yeah, I've been drinking since, I don't know, 8 o'clock this morning. I feel fine now. I'm a little bit buzzed and a little bit drunk and a little bit, I feel good. I do have a little cut on my lip. I fell last night talking to Andrea with the Dr. Phil show and fell forward and hit something and...
Do you have trouble remembering stuff like the next day or?
Well, if it happens after about probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I don't remember. It's just a washout. Now, that's probably the second one. I knew I was going to be coming out with Dr. Phil, so I didn't want to drink tomorrow. And just went with the fifth. A fifth today is no problem. It's easy. This is where I dwell. The main part of my existence is right here. And then you walk into the closet, and then you walk into the bathroom, and that's it. What I'm sad about is my ex-wife leaving me. Tonight, when I get ready for bed, I'll probably just pass out, not knowing what is coming tomorrow, not knowing anything. Hoping you can help me.
When we arrived at his house the next day, he was a completely different person.
Sunday morning, the day after my last interview, and I feel okay. We can pour that out. I'm done. I'm so done. After 2 or 3 days, once my body, I guess, has its feel, then I just get up the next day and have no desire at all. It's weird. I can go for a couple of weeks without having a drink, but then when I do take that first sip, I mean, it's all the way, ride or die. The very first time I ever drank, I was probably 12 years old. Everybody seemed to be happy when they were drinking, and I got me a little swig, and everything kind of started getting dizzy. And then when I got to college, it really got out of hand. I have been to 2 rehabilitation facilities. The first time I went was basically to please my wife. The second facility was court-ordered, so that really didn't count. Since a year ago, after my divorce with my wife, it's progressively getting worse and worse. I've got a son and a daughter that both live with their mother, and the last time that I've physically had them was about 6 months ago. I have injured myself on a number of occasions. I've got a solid steel gun cabinet. It fell backwards and I hit the back of my head and it severed an artery. My whole face got black, and it was even down to about my mid-chest. It just totally black. When I was in ICU, the doctor came in and said, if you continue on this same pattern, you'll lose your life in 4 to 5 years. Now is my rock bottom. If I don't get a hold of this stronghold pretty soon, you know, I could die.
Well, Shane, how you feeling today?
Feel great. Feel great. Hadn't had a drink in several days, and I feel perfect.
Mm-hmm. You an alcoholic?
I would consider myself one, yes, sir.
Mild, moderate, severe?
Probably moderate, I guess. Severe? Severe.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
Probably severe.
But you hadn't really seen yourself drunk until just a few minutes ago.
That is correct.
Things that we see, that Opie sees, that the police see, that others in your life see, you're not there for because you're blacked out. So it all happens. You wake up the next morning and it's like nothing happened. You can understand why everybody's so upset, right?
Right.
The police came and found you in the floor. You don't recall that actual incident, do you?
I do not remember at all.
Let's take a look at that.
Shane, you right, police department?
Hey, buddy. Hey, Shane, can you sit up? Lady, you want to go to the hospital?
No, sir.
I think it's a good idea. Shane, you remember me?
I do.
Remember I had to come into your apartment and get you last time?
Yeah.
Now, at that point, you're laying in a big pool of your own urine.
It's awful.
The cop, 15 years, said you were closer to death without being dead than anybody he's ever seen. Then you hit your head when you fell down, and so you wound up with this mask on your face, and you had a brain bleed. You got a fat lip right now. What's that from?
I fell, tripped on the carpet, and hit the door jamb.
That's when you were FaceTiming with us.
Correct.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, feeling good.
How much have you been drinking?
Not much.
Conversation kind of dried up about there.
Yeah, it kind of stops suddenly, doesn't it?
You said that your wife left you. You said something about that was one of the most surprising things you've said in all of our interactions with you. And I want to ask you about that right after the break. I don't care where it is, I will show up in court and I will tell them I warned you ahead of time and they will put your ass under the jail.
I understand.
Do not do that.
Tomorrow, from beauty queen to a daily dose of this.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
Adderall and the music and my inner monster.
She's all over the place.
I was so lonely I started making love to the furniture around the house.
Can she come down from her high?
Does that look manic to you?
I like mania. It's way better than depression.
You're a drug addict in a way that is risking your life.
Tomorrow, then on Monday. Two international men proposed online.
And she said yes to both.
Hey, Oma, he asked me to marry him. Then I fell in love with Gunesh.
That's Monday.
The closest liquor store to where I live now is about a half a mile away. So I'll run down there and get a half a gallon and get whatever I need. We're at my favorite liquor store, closed on Sunday, but this is where I buy the majority of my liquor. From time to time, I do drive under the influence, and I know it's against the law. It's straight here, straight home. Straight here, straight home every time. Both hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, you know, and I'm a very defensive driver, I guess. Feeding the beast.
So you drive drunk?
From time to time, I do, to get to the liquor store and to get home. Straight there and straight back.
Oh, well, as long as it's straight there and straight back. The hell gives you the right to drive drunk? Seriously, what gives you the right to drive drunk?
Nothing gives me the right.
No, it does not. You're getting in a 5,000-pound missile where you can't find your ass with a set of deer horns, and you get behind the wheel and go drive a car?
It's terrible.
You can't even walk down the hallway of your own apartment. You turn around and walk into a wall like it wasn't there the last time, but you run into it. You say you split your lip because you tripped on the carpet. Did they just put that in the night before?
No, sir.
This is your own space that you know like the back of your own hand, and you can't navigate across 10 feet without running into stuff, but you get in a car and drive.
Terrible.
That is arrogant, psychopathic, and you stay out of the car. Do not do that. Do not do that. You crash a car, I don't care where it is, I will show up in court and I will tell them I warned you ahead of time, and I will play this tape, and they will put your ass under the jail.
I understand.
Let me just show you a few drunk drivers that have crashed their cars. This is the damage they cause. These are drunk drivers, like you, and I suspect they weren't as drunk as you because hardly anyone is. But these are drunk drivers where people were killed. I mean, look at this. This is a car that was hit by a drunk driver that had people in it. The drunk driver walked away. The people did not. They died. That's how fast it happens. You need to man up and straighten up, and you need to stop this crap right now. Now, there was one thing you said that really jumped out at me when you were talking about your ex-wife, and you also said it about your kids. You said, I don't know why. She left me, I don't know why. I have kids, and I can't see my kids, and I don't know why. After watching these videos...
I understand why.
Seriously?
Yes, sir.
I mean, has this come clear to you, or are you still puzzled?
No, it's very clear.
I want to look at some texts between Shane's ex-wife and child. Dad is acting weird. Come home as soon as possible. Hurry. Your ex-wife. What is he doing? Your child. Bothering me. And he got pulled over by a cop because they said he was getting in the middle of the road. He's not bad. I just feel uncomfortable. I'm shaking. He has beer in his car. Eye roll emoji. I'm so aggravated. That's your child talking about their father.
That is definitely a wake-up call.
Yeah, well, I grew up with an alcoholic father, so I know exactly what that child's talking about.
Really? Yeah.
Shane owns almost a dozen firearms, says he doesn't think anybody should worry about his guns when he's drinking. We'll be right back.
That's my gun cabinet. Normally keep probably 8 to 10 guns in here.
The police had entered his apartment and noticed that his gun safe was unlocked. The officer did mention that it was a cry for a suicide attempt. The police department advised that they did not need to stay in the apartment.
And they were afraid that I would harm myself for some strange reason. I don't know why.
An unthinkable crime.
Chris Watts makes a second shocking confession from behind bars.
The Devil Beside Me, the Chris Watts story. Husband, father, killer.
Will he finally reveal what he really did to his family?
A new true crime podcast.
In a shocking twist, he blames Shanann for the deaths.
Mystery and Murder. Analysis by Dr. Phil. Episode 1, 2, and 3 now available on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
I think I've had 5 or 6 injuries since I've been drinking. I got some bumps on the back of my head right now, and I got a concussion. My left arm is kind of...
What's that from?
Probably when I fell the other night.
Do you have like blood pressure issues and high cholesterol issues?
I guess. I ain't got a damn clue what these are for.
Just read some of the labels.
That's for heartache. If I quit drinking, I'd probably have none of these issues.
There have been a lot of studies, thousands of studies about the impact of alcohol on the brain, and I've kind of boiled them down to a simple list. And this is your brain on alcohol. It is slower, you're clumsier, you're dumber, you're irresponsible, you're unpredictable, you're immature, and you're impulsive. And if you want to know why that's true, let me show you your brain. This is the healthy level of brain activity. And what we're seeing here with the colors, all of the green, the yellows, and the orange, this is electrical activity in the brain. This is parts of the brain talking to each other. When you drink, this is what that brain looks like. When you drink as much as you do, even these little patches
are gone,
are not here. Now that starts happening at 0.05. At 0.08, you're legally intoxicated, so they say you can't drive. At 0.10, this is just over the legal limit. You have slurred speech, poor judgment, your coordination, balance, and motor skills are impaired, you're uninhibited, you have slowed thinking and emotionality. That's at 0.1. At 0.2, you just add all of these things onto this. So you have all this plus you're disoriented and uncoordinated. You have double vision, you have blackouts, and you don't inhibit your aggression. You're vomiting and your gag reflex is impaired. So you're likely to choke on your own vomit. So you have a risk of choking. At 0.25, it's all of this plus you have mental, physical, sensory, all severely impaired, possible loss of consciousness, and now a high risk of choking on your vomit. We're not to you yet. The last time you were in the ER, you were 0.35, which is all of this plus tremors, memory loss, and possible death, but now your breathing and heart rate start to decrease. You've got so much toxic alcohol in your brain that it starts shutting down the respiratory system, the part of your brain that tells you to breathe. Your heart rate decreases, you lose bladder control. You're lying in the floor, passed out in a pool of urine. You lose bladder control. Possible death is 50+%. That's what you were last time you were in the ER. Time before that, you were just above 0.4. Now, it's not just decreasing, you have difficulty breathing, your heart is slowing down. This is the level that is accepted as lethal. At 0.4, you are supposed to die. So you can go 3 or 4 days and your blood level, we can check your blood and it comes up 0.000, but your brain is still toxic because you have alcohol poisoning.
Well, it's certainly a wake-up call. I've never had this explained to me in this manner. It's got to stop. for my children. I've got to make a change, and I'm desperate for help.
Well, Shane says he has no idea what his triggers are, what makes him pick up the bottle. What he does know is when he takes that first sip, he's on a runaway train. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about what to do when we come back.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. From beauty queen to this.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
Does that look manic to you?
I like mania. It's way better than depression.
That's tomorrow.
I never remember my dad saying that I love you or that I'm proud of you. First and only person in my family to ever graduate from college is my dad. Never told me that he was proud of me or congratulations or anything. So it kind of upset me a little bit.
Shane loves his kids so much, and he has no problem expressing that.
I tell my kids I love them every time I talk to them on the phone, every single time.
Well, I'm back with Shane and Opie, who is his friend. And Opie, you wrote into me, right?
Yes, sir.
God bless you for being his friend. He should thank his lucky stars.
Guardian angel. She is my angel.
Yeah. You have another friend, Kelly, who's Shane's childhood friend. Kelly, thank you for joining us on Polycom.
Certainly.
You've been listening to everything so far, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you have to say to Shane?
He's got to change. The next stop is the funeral home.
Do you recognize this Shane?
No. Totally different from my college roommate and my best friend. I mean, just his physical appearance is different. His mental aptitude has changed. And I would imagine that has a lot to do with slamming your head against a gun safe.
Yeah.
It never should have happened.
Do you think there's hope for him?
I think, truthfully, I think this is the final chance, to be quite honest with you. He's not going to do it on himself, by himself. He can't. He's tried. I certainly don't know what to do anymore.
You know him. Do you think he's hearing me?
I think so. This is different. He's acted different the last few days since he's been talking to your people, and there is something different about him going out there and talking to you. I'm hopeful, but I want to see something different.
Yeah, talk's cheap, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's behavior.
Yes.
And you said I've told you things here that you've never heard before. Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think I've done my homework about you?
Yes, sir. I do.
You said you didn't understand why your wife and children didn't want to be around you.
I think I understand now.
You made a list of excuses about why you drink. We're going to take a look at that next. We'll be right back.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Season 18 is underway. All we need is you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. Over the past year, Shane has had multiple trips to the emergency room, spent 10 days in ICU, had multiple head injuries, including a shocking subgaleal hemorrhage, and that's what caused the face and torso to discolor the way that it has. Now, we've asked Shane why he drinks, and like a lot of people, he had a list of excuses. He said, I wouldn't be drinking if my ex-wife hadn't left me. Thinking about my ex-wife triggers me 75% of the time. Not having my kids triggers me 100%. I miss them. Maybe you have a mental illness. Numbs away the pain when it feels like I've been treated unfairly. I mean, these are things that you say to yourself. I've added someone to the conversation here, my very dear friend, Dr. Charles Sophie. He's board-certified psychiatrist in 3 clinical specialties, and he is also the medical director of the Department of Child and Family Services for Los Angeles, which is the largest agency in the country that deals with families in crisis. Now, Dr. Sophie,
yes, sir.
Before we get to any of the alcohol, we know that he's had a brain bleed. He's one time to the point that he's actually had a brain bleed. Right. We know that he's subject to blackouts. We know, he's got a fat lip. He's got scars on his head. We know he's fallen, and it is not unusual when you're dealing with alcoholics and drug addicts that they have serious head trauma because they've fallen and fallen. You know that he's fallen and hit his head, right?
Yes.
Each injury adds on to the next injury. You don't really ever heal, and then you injure, and then you injure, and then you injure. And that's laying all on top of your selfishness that you started off with. Okay. And that's not fair to your kids.
No. So at this point, we don't really know where he is because we don't have a baseline, right? We don't have any kind of sober baseline of his brain, hormones, biochemistry. We don't know. We don't really know where he is.
No, we don't know how he thinks. We don't know if there's a disruption in the way that you process information, because there are times I'm looking at you and I'm not sure you know what's going on here even. Hello? That's what I mean.
I agree.
Yeah.
You have a toxic brain. We're talking about alcohol poisoning here. We're going to take a break. Shane only has 1 month's rent left in his bank account, and then he's going to be homeless. So what do we do? I mean, is it just done? I mean, is he just over with? Or is there a way for this man to fight back? We're going to talk about that when we get back, and he's going to have to answer some hard questions about exactly what he's willing to do. We'll be back. Coming up on Dr. Phil, visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
I want to introduce the Chief Clinical Coordinator of Revive Treatment Center, Dr. Dina Mannion, who is a longtime friend of mine. Dr. Mannion, good to see you.
You too.
Revive Treatment Center is a premier dual diagnosis treatment program, and they look at and treat the medical, physical, spiritual, mental health of their clients with really top-tier experts. And Revive understands the complexity of addiction with co-occurring disorders. We're talking about depression, anxiety, all the things that can spark the need to drink, and they just kind of go in that circle that I was talking about. And Dr. Mannion, this is a very severe case. Would you agree?
Definitely. Hi, Shane.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Based on what you're telling us, Dr. Phil, I agree with everything that you're saying in terms of the first real thing that we need to do is get you detoxified from alcohol and really get a baseline and see where you're at. And I don't think this is a short-term process. I think that after detox, to engage in the residential program so that we can really find out what's going on underneath. And then I actually have a plan for you after you're done with residential to go to Awakenings, which is a mental health facility that's based in neuroscience. And we do neurofeedback and we do brain testing and all kinds of things to help you to recover, not just from the alcohol, but also from the trauma and anything else that you've endured.
The option here is to do this right one time and be done with it. Because if you don't, those children are history. Now, Dr. Mannion is here. We're offering you this help. Will you take it?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Dr. Dina Mannion from Revive Treatment Center, and always Dr. Charles Sophie. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I do read your comments and questions. For instance, @Chase said, "Hey, Dr. Phil, can I get a shout out? You're my hero." So Chase, can you get a shout out? Can't help you, buddy. Yeah, Chase. Hope things are going well for you. We'll see you next time.
On an all-new Dr. Phil. From beauty queen to a daily dose of this.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
Adderall and the music and my inner monster.
She's all over the place.
I was so lonely I started making love to the furniture around the house.
Tamara's always sending me all these wacky texts. Electric boots, Flo, the bleedy lamb, no avocado on the iPad.
She's gonna get herself in big heap of trouble.
Can she come down from her high?
Does that look manic to you?
I like mania. It's way better than depression.
You're a drug addict in a way that is risking your life. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, you're getting ready to meet Tamara, who went from being a beauty queen competing in the Miss America pageant to having a very successful career as an anchor woman on the local news here in Los Angeles. Well, Tamara's husband, Steve, says the former Miss Arkansas and respected newswoman started exhibiting strange behavior 4 years ago.
How you doing, baby? Mama's here. You know what I say? I scare myself.
You gotta get while the getting's good, baby.
I'm trying to give birth to my adventurous side.
I kind of like my inner monster. It's kind of good.
So why is Tamara dancing in a tutu in the middle of the night and using a puppet? Well, Steve says he believes that his wife's behavior is a direct result of a dangerous, dangerous dependency on Adderall.
Adderall and the music and my inner monster. Woo, that's the chemical equation right there.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
She's gonna get herself in big heap of trouble.
When Tamara is using Adderall, she's kind of like on a spaceship. I mean, just way off the planet.
I was so lonely I started making love to the furniture around the house. I was making love to the shower door. I was like, ooh, shower door.
She's all over the place.
I scare myself because it's so shameful. Oh, I can't take it.
She's bouncing off the walls.
And I gotta run in here and get these heels on.
She'll stay up all night dancing and singing, jumping around in heels. She doesn't sleep.
I'm trying to give birth to my adventurous side.
Tamara rambles when she's on this drug.
I'm gonna have a new chemical formula for some new lip gloss. It's called Smackered Up.
She overanalyzes everything. She's always trying to figure out Avogadro's number and Einstein's philosophies. Why is the car red? Just a diatribe of completely meaningless talk.
All I am is a walking side effect.
Tamara's always sending me all these wacky texts. Electric boots, Flo, follow, 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 Flo, with a picture of an ant, the bleedy lamb, TBL, Four Eyes, BLT, Blat, no avocado on the iPad. It just makes no sense. She has different personalities.
I may have my little girl, You know, I may have my socially grown woman who's ready for her knight in shining armor. But who am I really?
She reads T-shirts, and T-shirts all talk to her. It's like, oh my God, the message for me. And I'm like, no, it's not, honey. This guy bought that shirt at Target. It has no meaning to you. She tells me everything's okay. She can function in the world. She's happy.
Like, how you doing, baby? Mama's here. You know what I'm saying?
But in reality, this drug will eventually kill her, or she will be committed to a psych ward.
He seems to worry a little bit too much about everything, I think.
Well, Steve says Tamara's addiction, which she insists she does not have, leaves him as her caretaker.
I kind of like it. I kind of like my inner monster. It's kind of good.
Tamara used to be very independent, but now I'm her caretaker. I'm the guy that has to feed her and dress her, and she has become like a child.
When I speak the truth, I just...
The winner of the poster contest for the Twilight Dance series at the Santa Monica Pier was announced.
Adderall has stopped her from earning an income.
Keep watching. I'm Tamara Henry.
She was in television for 25 years. She was an anchor woman. She was in the Miss USA pageant. She was a beauty queen. And now she has no sense of purpose anymore.
I found my inner designer. I can write songs.
She needs constant attention. Tamara will have panic attacks. They're violent. And I feel so bad for her because she'll just crawl up in a ball and pretty much catatonic for an hour or so. She can't move. I mean, she's cried in front of me thousands of times. She'll cry right when we get into our favorite bagel shop. And people think I'm beating her. It's like I'm this really bad husband, just, you know, and it's nothing like that. It's just she has these panic attacks and she'll cry.
I've been able to do things I could never do. I'm sorry, it doesn't look pretty on the outside.
Tamara's Adderall addiction wasn't part of the deal that I struck when we got married. I have hope. Dr. Phil could actually snap her out of this.
Well, Steve, you got to feel like this is just 24/7, right?
It's gotten pretty intolerable.
Despite your best efforts, you cannot convince her that she has an addiction, that she has a problem here.
She uses a euphemism. I am not addicted. I'm reliant on my medicine.
Okay.
Is how she turns it, yeah.
Because the way she talks about it as though, and I've listened to every piece of tape, read every word that she's talked about. She talks about it as though it's unlocking her mind and letting everything expand, everything come out that has been tamped down. She sees this actually as a positive.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah. Now, she sends you rambling text messages, too.
I stopped reading them, and when your people ask me to read them, I don't read them anymore. I haven't read them in years.
Because they don't make sense,
right? They make no sense.
They
make sense to her, but they'll make
Well, do they, when she goes back to him, if you say, what the hell are you talking about here?
Yeah, there's some sort of, there'd be a connection of some sort. I mean, she's not stupid. Tamara is a genius, is the problem. But
she'll connect them up
Yeah,
some
she'll
way.
connect them somehow, yeah.
Because here's an example, like text number 1, she says, fear and panic and symbolic death for right-sizing to end the isolation in exchange for everything.
Easy for you to say, yeah.
Yeah. What comes after bleed and scream? Blood, scream, and symbolic death is quick and painless. Long suffering? Then text 2, how can I feel calm in a safe place when I don't know who we're hiding from or what we're hiding? I can't see, I can't hear, I can't feel, I can't understand, I can't make decisions. What is happening? How much longer?
Yeah, it's incoherent. And in her defense, which I will defend her a lot because I love her, but in her defense, unfortunately, where she's at now, she's better on it than she is off of it. I don't know, you know, like heroin addicts, they can use methadone, and other people, alcoholics can go to AA. I don't know what Tamara needs when she gets off of this, because she has gotten off of it before, and she turns into a zombie, Dr. Phil. I mean, absolute zombify.
So you say she's easier to deal with on the Adderall.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because she's more productive around the house. And as much as you say, I don't want to feel like I'm exploiting her, but the truth is, she's easier to manage when she's on it than when she's in a fetal position, crying and upset.
Well, I mean, forget the productivity. Yeah, she is very productive. I mean, she cleans the house, and it's mind-boggling how much she gets done because, you know, it's like a methamphetamine. It's a speed. But she's calm.
How do you resolve the conflict here? Because you pay for this Adderall prescription. Somebody's giving it to her, but you're paying for it. How do you square that?
You know, that's a real conundrum. You know, she gave me a huge analyzing statement one day. It was kind of like a Tamara manifesto as to why this was, and I actually kind of bought into it. You know, she's like, you know, I've never felt good my entire life, ever. I've always had shame. I've always had guilt. You know, I didn't start taking this stuff until I was, you know, at 40. It makes me feel good. It let me feel good, Stephen. I mean, let me, and I'm like, okay, you know, but then it progressed where she had a 12-hour panic attack in a hotel, and I had to kind of hold her down, and she just cried.
But it's also killing her.
It is.
Well, that's the thing, because you understand she's sleep deprived.
Yes, she is.
Because she stays up all night,
Hugely.
and when you're sleep deprived, then your brain chemistry, the neurotransmitters in your brain are disrupted, and then you're pouring this Adderall, which is just an amphetamine.
But you have to explain it. She won't listen to me because I'm the bad guy.
So we've got a plan then. We'll throw you under the bus. I'll be the hero.
I think I'm already under the bus. Yeah.
All right, I got it. But the side effects get worse and worse, and her brain gets more and more disrupted. And then when she does come down off of it, it's a long way to fall. Now, Tamara says she loves Adderall and all it's doing for her life. And we're going to meet her after the break, and I'm going to ask her some hard questions, and I'll bet you she's got some pretty good answers. We'll be right back.
I've been waiting for somebody to say, put your heels on, baby. If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds. When I take my Adderall, it's almost like I have a magic wand. I just walk in the room and it's just clean. I just don't understand why I should stop taking it.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. 2 international men proposed online.
And she said yes to both. Why somebody halfway around the world?
Someone local, they always looked at my size. I am fat, okay?
You think geography's going to solve that?
What we discover
There's more to this story.
about her online lovers.
What the hell? Liar, liar, pants on fire.
That's Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Well, with 16 million Americans filling prescriptions for stimulants like Adderall every year, many experts warn that a new prescription drug epidemic is fast approaching. We all know about the opioid epidemic, but tucked in behind that is this stimulant epidemic. And the deaths associated with that are climbing at an alarming rate. Now, Tamara insists her Adderall prescription is helping her to, and I quote, give birth to a midlife awakening and fulfill her fairy tale fantasies. Take a look.
Kill that old girl off and let that new girl come to life. Some of my favorite things about Adderall is the fact I just love my brain. I get so excited. I love my brain. I can think clearly. I have access to the words that I need. I can remember things from my childhood. I can remember words I want to recall. Yeah, and you celebrate life and you know, shake your butt and you feel alive again. When I take my Adderall, it helps me focus. It's almost like I have a magic wand. I just walk in the room and it's just clean. A big pile of dirty dishes, voila, it's done. It's like Alice in Wonderland. All my fairy tale dreams are coming true. Before Adderall, I was Sleeping Beauty in a glass case, just kind of oblivious. And it woke me up. I could feel everything. For the first time in my life, I just don't understand why I should stop taking it. I've been waiting for somebody to say, put your heels on, baby. Adderall, unleash my inner diva, my inner creative side, my inner neglected self. I want to run in here, and like I'll even throw these curtains open, and I'll be like trying to sing in here and see if I can hear myself better. Woohoo! I put those high heels on, turn that music up, get your disco ball going, and just do the press around. It's therapeutic. I kind of like my inner monster. It's kind of good. In the past, I was a doormat. This flimsy girl who would come home crying. Adderall helped me put my boxing gloves on and gave me the courage to stand up for myself. If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds. I take it every day. 20 to 30 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day. One of the challenges of taking Adderall is trying to find your sweet spot. I used to be the medical reporter, now I'm the patient. Stephen talks about it like it's heroin or some bad thing. It could be a magical journey. So why not have magic? It's a pill I put in my mouth and swallow. I mean, ta-da! I don't know, what's the big deal?
Well, hello, it's good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Dr. Phil.
So what is the big deal? Is this all much ado about nothing?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of wish that I had been on it. I was like, why wasn't I on this in high school and college and during my career? I could have done so much better and been so much more successful. And so I just think I had some friends that could see that something was wrong or I needed something, so they told me to go to the doctor.
So you went to the doctor, and did he give you a diagnosis or just the pills? I mean, this is for an underactive neocortex. Did they diagnose you with that?
I think he was able to tell by my symptoms. I can't focus. You know, I need more energy. I'm all over the place. I feel lethargic. No.
No blood workup?
No.
I assume that you're reevaluated every 10 to 30 days?
Right, I go in every 30 days to see my doctor, so he sees me. I come in and I sit on the couch like this, and he looks at me and, you know, says, how's it going? And in the beginning, we talked a lot more, and now it's just kind of like I'm on autopilot. I just come in. We don't have that much to talk about, and he makes sure that I look fine, and I get my prescription, and I just keep going.
Okay, so how long do you spend with a doctor?
These days, you know, it could just take like 5 minutes to come in.
How much are you taking?
I'm taking 20 to 30 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day.
Seriously?
Yes.
And they're prescribing that to you?
Yes.
They know you're taking as much as 90 milligrams of Adderall a day?
Yes. 7
days a week?
Yes.
For 4 years?
Yes.
Right. Tell me what the side effects are, to your understanding.
When you talk about side effects, that we also have a lot of positive side effects that we overlook because people tend to focus on the negative.
Okay, well, give me a list of both that you're aware of.
Well, some of the positive side effects are that I'm more aware of my inner landscape, the things inside of me that I was unaware of. Let's say I was dragging a lot of luggage behind me from the past, things that were dragging me down. They all became amplified so that I could see them clearly, so I could see some of my character defects, some of my hang-ups, so that I could work on them and get rid of them. One of the first things that came up is I saw that I was kind of concerned about other people's opinions, almost in a paranoid way. And I had to learn to deal with that. Like, I would see somebody frowning, and I would think that was about me. And I had to learn.
But don't you have ideas of reference now? Don't you see things on television or on a T-shirt or on a sign and personalize those things as being about you?
I do. I feel like, because I'm a very spiritual person.
Does that seem normal to you, that you see a T-shirt or a sign and think that that is a message specifically for you?
Well, in the past, I never noticed much of anything. I never noticed any signs. I never noticed any T-shirts. I never noticed, I was a walking zombie. I never saw anything. And then all of a sudden, I was tuning into everything. And I began to see, like,
but now
patterns
my
and
question.
beauty and things like
now
that.
Answer my question.
Okay.
Do you think it's unusual that you see a T-shirt with a saying on it and believe that that is specifically aimed at you?
Well, I kind of believe that everything in life is a Rorschach test. Whenever you see something, it's not about the thing that you're seeing. What you're seeing is your own perception of the world reflected back to you.
But there's a T-shirt that was made in Minnesota 5 years ago, and some guy's wearing it on the beach, and you decide that that message is for you specifically. Does that seem rational?
Inside of me is everything. And so when I see something, I resonate with it. Some things more so than others. You know, that T-shirt doesn't really resonate with me. This one does. That one's speaking my message. I don't understand what you're asking me.
I think you do. All right, we're going to take a break. Next, Tamara says she has a puppet that is not only part of her therapy, but also helps her reach out to the heathens and hellcats on Venice Beach. We're going to take a look at that after the break, and I'm going to have her look at some of the videotape that we've shot in her condo and let her comment on that. We'll be right back.
Without the Adderall, I just kind of feel like I'm a knot on a log.
She becomes lethargic, very zombie-like. She has a really hard time making any decisions. It's not good for anyone.
I found found this puppet at a garage sale.
Curtains for you right now, girl.
I think that it's a perfect little bit of dialogue between multiple parts of myself. Her name is Henrietta Horton.
I'm the one who can bitch and complain.
My puppet represents the side of me that gets to do all the pouting and complaining. I started my own little show out on the beach in Venice, and it's every Sunday morning I go out there, and it's like Sunday school for Saturday night sinners and Sunday morning grinners, because heathens and hellcats need to go to church too.
You gotta get while the getting's good, baby.
Well, Tamara says she had no idea that being prescribed Adderall would lead to what she calls a magical journey of creativity and awakening.
I kind of feel like that in the beginning, before I started taking Adderall, I was out there and I was talking to people, and when I started to take the Adderall, it was more of an inner journey. And for the first time in my life, I was able to cry. My entire life, I couldn't feel anything physically, I couldn't feel anything emotionally. I was locked down, I had blocks and chains. You know, the Bible belt was just squeezing me too tight. I went through some therapy where everyone else was crying and boohooing in their tissues, and I'm like, why am I not crying? I think I was too trapped in my head.
Sure.
There was something about it that opened my emotions.
How much are you sleeping?
I'm sleeping pretty much regularly, unless I'm, you know, if I choose to stay up late, and I know that Stephen gets mad at me for staying up late, and I want to go to bed at midnight, but sometimes my creative genius can come out late at night.
Staying up late is one thing. 6:32 in the morning is another thing. I mean, that's not late. I mean, that's into the next day.
Right, but I don't know. I've heard stories about, you know, muses and, you know, people who are artists, and I know that everyone should be so regimented and be a 9-to-5 person and get 8 hours of sleep every night, and I think sleep's important.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. When you started taking Adderall, you didn't reinvent brain chemistry. That is what it is, and I'm watching you here. I mean, take a look at this. I mean, that's fun. Looks like you're having fun.
Right.
How do you interpret what you're looking at here?
I think that, I mean, I had, you know, my mom died, and she sent 13 boxes of my stuff from my childhood, and there's my toe shoes. And I got up and I put those on, and I was able to get up on my toes. And there's me cleaning the house. I love Manic Mondays. I get up and I put on the music, and I clean the house, and I get it done. Where, you know, I couldn't clean the house. I would just look at it and say, oh, I can't do this, I can't face it.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this tape.
Okay. Like, how you doing, baby? Mama's here. You know what I'm saying? I scare myself. I'm trying to give birth to my adventurous side. Oh, you know, I can't take it.
How does that look to you?
It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna look. I'm having fun. I mean, you know, I used to be a buttoned-up business person, and I had completely forgotten about my inner monster.
Does that look manic to you?
It doesn't look so manic to me, but I think that I like mania. It's way better than depression.
If those are the only two choices, then okay. But the truth is, you're sleep deprived, right? You say it's boring. Sleep's boring. How do you know you're asleep?
No, I think it is important to get good sleep, because then I can function better. And
does she get good sleep?
No, she does not.
How many hours does she sleep?
Well, I mean, like when she goes to bed, here's the problem. When she goes to bed at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, she'll come to bed and she'll get up at 10:30, you know, 3 hours. Now, that's not every day, but it's progressively gotten worse. Yeah.
If you're staying up and going to bed at 6:30 in the morning and sleeping for 3 hours, then your brain is altered, and then you're pouring a way overdose of Adderall on top of your brain. You're getting high on speed and running around your house like a chicken with a head cut off.
anytime you get something new in your life, at first you're gonna be like, wow, this is great.
You've been doing this for 4 years. You're running from something. Is it possible that maybe perception is reality, and so you're seeing this a whole lot different than maybe it really is?
I understand that, and I understand...
But answer my question. I didn't ask you if you understood it.
Yeah.
I asked you if that's possible, that that's what's happening with you.
I think it's possible. I mean, I want to look at everything, and I want to make sure that that I get into my stride with this, and if I can't, then maybe I should stop taking it.
But why do you have such a poor image of yourself?
I don't know. I guess maybe because I feel like I have a lot of self-scrutiny, and I feel scrutinized by others or judged by others. And so it's kind of like, I think that, you know, at first I'm going to be all over the place, but eventually I'm going to find a good stride and a good frequency, and it's going to kind of balance out.
Okay, but my question is, what do you know about yourself that I don't know, that Steve doesn't know? What do you know about yourself that is so bad that you believe you can't function without these drugs?
Well, in the past, I was drinking 2 pots of coffee a day to try to get to that place. And in college, I had a doctor write me a note that said that I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And I feel like emotionally, I just kind of tend to be negative and a knot on a log. So I've been really happy. The way that I have felt, I have been happy. I don't know if everyone else is happy, and that's a bummer to think that I have to choose between me being happy or them being happy. There's got to be some kind of happy medium balance.
Okay, I'm not easy to deflect. My question is, what do you know about yourself that causes you to believe that you need to take so much drug to be okay?
What do I know about myself?
You're running from something because you don't feel like you can function without taking 90 milligrams of Adderall a day. What are you running from?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't think I'm running from something. I think that I'm just so ecstatic and happy to be alive for the first time that I may be going bonkers. But I think it's okay. I think that once I get used to this, I mean, I think anytime you get something new in your life, you get a new car, you get a new house, you get a new, you know, husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, get a new career, new sport. You're gonna, at first, you're gonna be like, wow, this is great, you know, and
4
eventually.
years. You've been doing this for 4 years.
I know, and I feel like that, that I'm
We
finally.
trade cars in after 4 years. This isn't new.
Right.
This doesn't have that new drug smell anymore. This is 4 years old.
Well, but it's still working for me, and that's a shame, and I'm sorry. And I would like to know if there's a better drug. I would be willing to change. You know, people say there's got to be something better. I don't know. It's still working for me, and I don't know.
Well, okay, I've got a challenge for you when we come back. Tamara says Steve's got another thing coming if he thinks shipping her off to rehab is going to fix her and their marriage. So what are we going to do about all of that? Well, Tamara wonders if Steve taking Adderall with her might bring his game up to where she is.
What a great idea.
Maybe that's the problem. He's dragging behind. We'll talk about all that when we come back.
She's going through hell, and her husband's standing over her, judging her every step of the way.
We're more like roommates right now.
He's constantly on me like I'm a bad kid doing something wrong.
I fell in love with this power player. I want her back.
Maybe he's the one that needs a little Adderall.
We had a really horrible incident a few weeks back. I come in from a long day at work, and my wife is drunk at the computer. She was just singing and having a good time. Tamara's mixing Adderall with whiskey. I'm like, I can't think of a more lethal combination. She did it 3 days in a row. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. This is going to kill her.
Now, Tamara admits that Adderall has created issues in her and Steve's marriage, but she says the real problem is not the pills, it's Steve judging and shaming the new her.
I'm giving birth to something beautiful here, and he can't even see it. Adderall has caused me and Steve to grow apart. She's going through hell, and her husband's standing over her, judging her every step of the way, telling the neighbors what's going on.
Our marriage is not great, but she is possessed and has been taken over by Adderall.
The old me is dying away, and the new me is being born. And my husband might be botching up the process because Steve judges me. Sometimes I feel shamed by Steven or constrained by him, like he's my father or my prison warden.
I'm the bad guy. She won't listen to anything I say. She has no sense of reality.
Do you plan on staying on Adderall your entire life?
I don't know what the future holds.
I'm in the middle of my transformation. I'm changing, and he's not. He's like, what is she doing? She's not being the way she used to be. She better go back to the way she was. You know, I'm hot in the kitchen. I'm making some food.
We have gone in two separate directions. We're more like roommates right now.
It's like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's like Alice in Wonderland. All my fairy tale dreams are coming true.
Steven wants me to go off to rehab and come back not taking Adderall. He's constantly on me like I'm a bad kid doing something wrong.
I still love Tamara with all my heart, but I fell in love with this power player, and we were gonna take over the world, but she completely fell. I just don't know what to do.
Sometimes I think maybe he's the one that needs a little Adderall and we'll both be on the same frequency.
The woman I fell in love with doesn't exist anymore. I want her back.
I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
This is a role play. Go back to the old you, anchor woman you, and just interview me.
Okay. So, Dr. Phil, welcome to the Dr. Henry Show. We're so glad you could be with us today.
Glad to be here.
What I would like to ask you is, what have you seen with some of your guests that come in on the show? I'm sure you've had a lot of people struggle with alcohol and drugs. And so in terms of pharmaceuticals, what are some of the biggest risks and what are some of the stories that you've heard about pharmaceuticals?
Mostly denial, because people don't understand how it affects the brain chemistry. And because it's altered their consciousness, they're unable to see what's going on inside their body, and it takes away their ability to have insight and understand what's going on inside them.
Mm-hmm. So how do you get those people to see themselves clearly?
Well, at some point, they have to trust people that care about them and understand that those people are going to be kind of their touchstone. They're going to be the ones that say, you know what? You may not be able to see this, but you're going to have to trust that I love you and I do, and believe in yourself enough to know that there's another way to get what you want rather than chemically.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of those ways that your guests have found?
Well, I think they find it by deciding what the obstacles are within themselves that are draining their life energy, what it is that's keeping them from being everything that they believe they are on the drugs that they can really be. Maybe it's unresolved trauma in their life. Maybe it's a lack of confidence because they have had failure experiences. Maybe it's the fear of being judged by others, and so they just don't feel the ability to go out and do everything they want to do. And when they get the confidence, it's always because they've changed their internal dialogue. They've changed what they're saying to themselves about themselves and about the world. And once you wipe all of those things away and their authentic self is able to come out and blossom, then they don't need the drugs.
Mm-hmm. I like that when you talk about the authentic self, because I think that's what I'm trying to do, is give birth to my authentic self. And it's so hard to do and to anchor that in when you have a lot of people in your life who care about you and who are worried about you.
Well, you've had me as a guest here. What do you want your viewers to take away from my being here today?
Well, I just want them to, I mean, you have the #1 show, the #1 talk show, just to be here, be part of it. That's really amazing. And you did this without Adderall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yay, natural. Where's Dr. Phil? Hi.
And look at everything in your life you did without Adderall.
Right, you're right.
Look at everything in your life you did without Adderall.
Mm-hmm.
All the achievements, all the accomplishments, all the accolades, all the competition, everything you achieved without ever taking that damn pill.
Right. You are so smart, Dr. Phil. Thank you so much for saying that. You hit the nail on the head. I love that.
We'll be right back.
A lot of people have told me to leave Tamara, but I had an ex-girlfriend who I very much cared for. She called me 5 years ago. She had an addiction issue. She said, Steven, come and get me. And I'm like, I can't come get you. I'm in a relationship. I wish I had because she killed herself. I could have brought her, and I could have tried to save her. I don't want this to happen to Tamara. She doesn't have anyone.
Well, Steve says despite people urging him to, he will never turn his back on his wife, despite her struggling with a dangerous Adderall addiction. And he shouldn't, and I'll tell you why. She's here. I mean, she didn't say, no, I won't come, I won't listen to this. She's here. I mean, you got to give her credit for that. Now, I want to introduce Dr. Charles Sophie. He's sitting here in the audience. Now, Dr. Sophie is a board-certified psychiatrist in 3 clinical specialties, actually, and he's the medical director of the Department in Child and Family Services for Los Angeles. You know, Dr. Sophie, she's taking 90 milligrams of Adderall a day, never having had a brain workup to determine if the prefrontal cortex is, in fact, underactive. What do you think about the levels of Adderall that she's taking?
Well, I mean, the top dose for an adult is about 40 milligrams a day. So you're on 90. You've never really had your blood taken to see if your thyroid or any other medical problem could be presenting itself. But I think, unfortunately, you had a depression, probably, that this medicine, amphetamine, made you feel happy about, happier than you've been in a while. But I think it goes back to his question of what were you running away from inside of you? Because it took it away, but it's artificial.
And what do you think would be the potential problems with taking twice the maximum dosage that an adult should be taking of Adderall for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years in a row?
Well, I mean, the side effects of just your appetite suppression. You're depriving your body of food, probably of some level. Your sleep, you're never restoring your brain to the level it should be. And your cardiovascular system can't take it after a while. That's why you're having those panic attacks. You're being overrun with dopamine. Your heart rate goes up. Your blood pressure goes up. You could have a stroke. You could die.
It tricks your body because you have pleasure centers in your brain, and Adderall has a lot in common with cocaine. And you're taking high doses of it, and so it tricks your body, and it messes up the neurotransmitters in your brain. You can have that energy, you can have that joy, you can have that creativity without putting your life at risk. Because right now, you're a drug addict. And you're a drug addict in a way that is risking your life. And you need to be responsible enough to hear that and make a deal that says, I'm not willing to go back to where I was before I started the drug, but I'm not willing to put my life at risk and continue doing this either. I want an alternative. So what's next for Tamara and Steve? I'm going to tell them what I think after the break. You, biochemically, are addicted to Adderall. Do you believe that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to call myself a drug addict, and sometimes I say, maybe I'm just drug dependent.
You're drug dependent, and I have thinning hair.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's not get into semantics. You have an issue with Adderall. Fair?
Yes. I mean, does that mean everybody that takes it is that way?
Everybody that's taken 90 milligrams a day for 4 years, you're damn right.
When he wants me to stop taking it, it kind of feels like he's trying to take away my newfound magic. You know, this is the new me, and you don't like it, and it's almost like he wants to do away with that girl, and it's kind of scary.
My goal is not to get you off of this drug. My goal is to get you to a well-adjusted, drug-free place where you're happy and free and energized in your life, where you're experiencing everything you are now, but without the drug. Will you work with us to do that?
Yes, I will.
Okay? Yeah. And And Dr. Sophie, will you help us do this?
100%.
Because we can start with getting some lab work and figuring out where she is brain-wise. If we need to, she can go to PNP in Dallas and get a brain workup and figure things out. And if the easiest thing for you is to go to a dual diagnosis treatment program that's just stunningly beautiful. Dr. Mannion, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Phil.
This
Hi,
is Dr.
Tamara.
Dina Mannion. She's the Chief Clinical Officer at Aloe House Recovery Centers. They provide a terrific, very customized experience. You understand what we're saying here.
The great thing about Aloe House is we're not just a treatment center. We also do use alternative methods to help people to get to their authentic self, which I think you really want to do. In addition to having daily medical doctors on site, we also do things like sound bath and yoga and equine therapy and things that can kind of bring out that inner creativity in you that I think you're wanting to really get in touch with. It's not just rehab.
Can I bring my puppet?
Yes. You can bring your
Yes,
puppet.
please bring your puppet.
Okay.
Puppet therapy. There we go.
Really, I think this is absolutely made for you. And again, understand, I don't want you just off this drug. I want you to have what you're looking for in your life.
Thank you.
Fair enough?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay? Very much. I want to thank all my guests today, and a special thanks to Dr. Charles Sophie and Dr. Dina Mannion from Aloe House Recovery Centers for offering the resources for Tamara, because it's just made for her. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I do read your comments and questions. For instance, the real Kelvin Klein asked, Dr. Phil, my brother keeps eating my leftovers. Got any advice? Yeah, quit leaving them left. Eat them yourself or put them under your mattress. That's what I used to do. We'll see you next time.